get ready to join the party.
For Don Matthews' team, it's win and get in to the playoffs, that is. The Argos have already clinched, but need to be ready for the tough road ahead. Edmonton's Neil Green is back and hopes to lead the Eskies back to past glory with a little help from his D. But he'll have to do it against Toronto's defense, maybe the best in the league. The Argos just need to get their offensive weapons more involved. Argos, Eskimos, next. The team Don Matthews left is the team Don Matthews needs to beat to keep the Eskimos' remarkable playoff streak alive. Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of our doubleheader, our season-ending doubleheader. James Duthie along with Chris Schultz. 28 straight years. The last time the Edmonton Eskimos missed the playoffs, Schultz, he was playing pee-wee football and he was only a little guy of 6'4", and I was riding around the driveway in my big wheel. But it may happen this year. The Eskimos need a win to control their own destiny. If they lose, Winnipeg has a chance to get in. One good thing for the Eskimos, for the first time in a long time, they are relatively healthy, and Chris, they really do think they have a chance.
You know what, for a team that has 6 wins and 11 losses, this Eskimo team is surprisingly confident, and why not? When you look at all the injury adversity that they had to overcome, they had 4 different running backs, they've gone through 4 different quarterbacks, they lost their top cornerback, it just went on and on and on. Why not if they get into the playoffs? The key issue tonight is, you know, the Eskimos will try anything and everything to win this football game, but there will have to come at a certain point, they're going to have to commit to a style of offense. 2 tight ends with Sean Millington, or spread the field and get the ball to all those speedy receivers. I'm going to be looking for what phase of football they try to establish at a certain point in the game, and does it work, or do they have to keep adjusting as the game goes on, James?
Tough situation for the Argos. You want to get on a roll going into the playoffs, but you don't want to add to an already depleted roster. They've got a lot of injuries.
Priority for the Toronto Argonauts tonight, and this is the truth, get out of the game with the same starting 24 you got into the game. We just saw a first football game where the teams with nothing to win in terms of the standing played with passion. The Toronto Argonauts seem to have to adopt that type of style if they're going to win, James.
And the Argos have won 5 of the last 6 games against the Edmonton Eskimos. If Edmonton loses, Winnipeg will get into the playoffs with a win or a tie tomorrow. Neil Green wants to hear none of that. He wants to take care of business now, next on the CFL Live.
The Eskimos have one last chance to make the playoffs and save a season that has had more lows than highs. The Argos have one last chance to get ready for the Ticats in the East semifinal next Sunday. We've come all this way. We might as well have a good time.
We might as well have some fun. You know, the Edmonton Eskimos want to win this game to get in the playoffs and to prove that they deserve to be in the playoffs. That's why this game is important to Neil Green and the rest of the Edmonton Eskimos.
It's Don Matthews' first game in Toronto since jumping the good ship Argonaut last fall. He doesn't want to be remembered as the first Eskimo coach to miss the playoffs in 27 years.
Jay Barker has got to have a big game for Jim Barker, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, because he's had problems getting consistency out of his offense. If he can have a big game here this evening and get a big game out of Jay Barker, they can get some confidence going into the playoffs.
They really need a game out of Jay Barker. He started the last couple. He has been named the Argonauts quarterback for the remainder of this season. That came a couple of weeks ago. They wanted to get him confident and ready for the playoffs. Last week, he had a tough loss against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Paul Mazzotti has had 12 wonderful seasons as a member of the Argonauts. He's won the Grey Cup 3 times, been a Grey Cup most valuable player, and this could be the last time he suits up for the Argos on home turf at Skydome.
Well, the same could be said about Pinball Clemens. This may be the last time that Argonaut fans get a chance to see the Pinball contemplating retirement, and all I want to say about it is, say it isn't so.
Yeah, and thanks for everything, Pinball. If, in fact, this is the end of the line for you, he has been the most popular Argonaut of all time, without question. One terrific guy and a wonderful football player to boot. Sean Fleming will get the football evening underway at Skydome in Toronto. And it comes down near the 25-yard line. Burse on the return. He's out to the 45. Tony Burse back for his second straight game. Jay Barker, number 7 for the Argonauts, is still trying to find consistency for the Argonaut offense. He has shared duties with Jimmy Kemp most of the season. Tonight's starting lineups for Midas, car care the way it should be. Decent field position to begin this.
Yeah, good return, and they're out in the 40. They got a good chance here to get a little momentum early. They really need to play aggressively offensively, I think, in this one.
Go deep a couple of times, and that's not a good start. It was Tony Burse hammered as he crosses the 45-yard line. We talked about Mazzotti and Pinball. English is also into the lineup tonight, added in there, and Mitchell should play a big role, or a bigger one. There are problems up front with Chris Giaskis moving to center for the injured Chad Folk. This could be a problem for the Argonauts. Giaskis has only played center a couple of times during his long career. 2nd and 5. Barker looks to put it up. A little miscommunication as he missed Mitchell on the near side.
Defensively for the Edmonton Eskimos, Malvin Hunter and Carter on the corners, Marcelo Simmons and Terry Ray, the defensive player nominee for the Edmonton Eskimos in the linebacking core. And in the secondary, pressure on Charles Anthony and Anthony Fogle inside, because that's usually where Daryl Mitchell lines up.
Noel Prefontaine leads the CFL with a 47.4-yard average. He should be the all-star punter in 1999. He's had a great year. Standing back at his 30. To return, Ashley. And Henry Williams. And it sails over the Giz's head into the end zone and rolls for a long single, which Williams gladly gives up for a little field position. An 85-yard punt by Prefontaine.
Yeah, he's an offensive weapon for the Toronto Argonauts, no question about it. He nailed that punt. 85 yards, and obviously there's no wind in the Skydome.
No, it was all him, wasn't it?
The top is closed, so that's all leg from Noel Prefontaine.
Williams looked to misjudge it a little bit. Nealon Green back at the controls for the Eskimos after missing 3 games in a row. Green will run to win. Passing numbers nearly 2,000. 14 interceptions and only 12 touchdowns for Nealon Green, a former Argonaut who arrived in Edmonton just prior to the start of the season. Eskimos begin at the 35. 3 receivers far side of the field. For Nealon Green, he'll take off immediately. Green almost has a first down. He averages 9.2 yards every time he carries the ball.
Yeah, no question what the game plan is. He's going to run the football, run it with Millington, who had the big game last week with 225 yards, and they got a lot of playmakers in the receiving corps in Ashley and Vaughn.
And up front, an offensive line that's been together almost all season long.
Leo Groenwagen coming off Lineman of the Week honors for his last week game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Gain is 8, 2nd and 2 for the Eskimos. Out across the 40 and the 43-yard line. Groenwagen, a real warrior.
Yeah, and he's going to have his hands full today with Demetrius Maxey and Jermaine Haley inside.
Yeah, we'll watch that matchup. 2nd and a couple for Nealon Green and the Eskimos. Millington breaks free. He'll have plenty for the first down, but there is a marker. We'll check out the infraction.
Edmonton Eskimos went with their heavy set. They went with a couple of tight ends and Sean Millington in behind. And we talked about his game last week versus Saskatchewan.
There is no infraction on the play. First down.
So that will count for Millington, who's off to a good start.
But that was against Saskatchewan. This is a different defense he'll face here against Toronto. And inside is the heart of that defense. Demetrius Maxey, Jermaine Haley, and Michael O'Shea. Of course, nominated for 3 different awards this year for the Toronto Argonauts. And in the secondary, Byron Capers and Antonius Bonner will have the pressure on them with Terry Vaughn back in the lineup for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Eskimos are right across midfield. At the Argonaut 53, first down. Full house backfield, 2 receivers near side, and Green goes over the middle. He's got his target, and a big hit down there on Ashley as he made the catch.
Well, it certainly doesn't take long. When that football is in the air and you're playing against the Toronto defense, it doesn't take long for someone to show up when you're a receiver. You can turn around, catch that ball, and there is someone in your face immediately. This time it was Antonius Bonner who laid the hit right there on Ashley.
Gain is 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Receivers to the near side this time. And 3 to the top of your screen, far side of the field. Early in the opening quarter. Elon Green on second. Hervey got one hand on it, couldn't bring it in. And O'Shea had a little heat on the Eskimo quarterback that time.
Michael O'Shea is the guy who runs the whole show, and he's just going to read the football and move when the ball is in the air. Michael O'Shea, the veteran, has the uncanny ability to know exactly when to come out of his break. When he's dropping back into his coverage, he reads the quarterback. This is why he is so good and why he's been so good this year, is that he's a veteran. He reads the quarterback, breaks on the football, and is always around the football.
Sean Fleming has struggled a little bit since returning to the Eskimos as a field goal kicker. Punting average is fine as he looks at Mike Pinball Clemens lined up inside the Argonaut 10. Good punt that'll sail over Pinball's head and trickle into the end zone. So they're trading singles so far at Skydome. It's 1-1. Feels like the Oilers and the Leafs. But it is, in fact, the Argos and the Eskimos on CFL Live.
What? The CFL Live on TSN is brought to you by Castrol GTX Drive Hard and by Molson Canadian.
It's 1-1, but it's early at Skydome between the Argonauts and the Eskimos. Edmonton needs a win, and with one will advance to the playoffs one more time. But the Argonauts trying to get ready for the playoffs against the Ticats next week. Tough running inside for Toronto on first down.
You know, when you talk about intensity, you talk about Edmonton usually should have the edge here in this football game. But the one thing you got to wonder about is, could they be too tight? Because, I mean, everything is on the line for the Edmonton Eskimos. They have to win to get in the playoffs. The Edmonton Eskimos, though, are they going to be too tight in this game? You got to play relaxed.
Darren Joseph picked up a couple. Barker digs it out of the turf. He's on target for Mazzotti. Big catch at the 55. Here's what the Argos have to do to win this tonight.
Well, more of that.
Yeah.
Passes to Mazzotti. No, I think they have to be aggressive on offense. 7th in the league in the average yards passing. I think they need to go deep, stretch the defense, and see if they can make something happen. I think as good as this defense has been for the Toronto Argonauts this year, they got to be better here tonight to win the football game. In fact, they got to score, and they got to keep their intensity level up. And remember, they have already made the playoffs. They know they're going. Now they're heading over to Hamilton in the playoffs. They know that right now. Jim Barker needs that intensity to stay at a high level from start to finish tonight if they want to win this game.
Holding will negate a 16-yard gain for the Argonauts. This is 2nd and 15, and Barker fired for burst. Another marker down at the 40. So what looked like a positive play for Mazzotti out near the 55 comes all the way back.
Refs are throwing a lot of laundry here already early in this football game. That one was
Major
down.
foul. Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 30. First down.
Well, they'll get that one back, the Argonauts. Charles Asman.
Yeah, Charles Asman, this is what I'm talking about, the intensity level of the Edmonton Eskimos. Here's a position in the game where they're playing for their playoff lives. You know they're going to be hyped. You know they're going to be fired up. But you don't want to be too far over the edge, or else you get that penalty for sustaining that block too long or making that hit after the whistle.
First and 10 Argonauts. A low snap again. And Barker just slides it to Tony Burch.
Why is it important to have...
Left out by Leroy Blue.
Why is it important to have Tony Burch healthy and ready to go in the playoffs? Because they really feel that Tony Burch is the only guy that can block Joe Mumford from the fullback position in this league. You know, and forget about what he does with the ball, and he does well with the ball. 85 carries, 400 yards in 10 games, but what he does when he doesn't have the ball is equally as important.
Second and 7 Argonauts. Barker too high for Mazzotti. About 8 feet too high.
Yeah, I think Jay Barker wanted Mazzotti to go out. He wanted him to turn and then break back to the outside. You see him talking to him as they walk off to the sideline. Paul Mazzotti saw the coverage the way he saw it. He turned into the inside. Jay Barker threw it to the outside and threw it a bit high.
Argonauts quickly into a punting situation one more time. Prefontaine standing back at the 30, and he clobbered that first one 85 yards for a single. Slight delay here with an injured Eskimo down around midfield being attended to.
Well, we talked about the intensity of the Edmonton Eskimos and that it would be high and whether or not they'd be too tense for this game. For the Argos, it's a little different situation because for the Argos, they have to have a balancing act going here this evening because how long do you play all your starters is a question. Depending on how the game is going. You want to win. That's priority number one, but how long do you play your starters and risk injury?
The injured Eskimo is Eric Edwards, still being attended to. Injury timeout at Skydome. It's all even at 1. Here's how the Eskimos will win that final playoff spot in the West.
Because of changes Don Matthews made in training camp and injuries throughout the season, I don't think the Edmonton Eskimos have been a very good team this year, but they have great players, and those players need to make big plays. I'm talking about Nealon Green, Terry Vaughn as a receiver, and Sean Millington out of the backfield. Individually, they can win football games. Any one of those guys can win a game by themselves. But as a team, they struggle.
The injured Eskimo still being attended to by the medical staff on the bench is Eric Edwards, starting quarterback. Third down, Toronto. Prefontaine at his 30. Low snap. He's under it. And he sails this one down near the 15-yard line. Here's the giz. Henry Williams looking for a little room. He gets about 5 on the return, wrapped up after a 50-yard punt. Terry Vaughn heads out again. Did not play last week. He's over 1,000 yards and definitely the Eskimos' go-to guy. That's why he went to Edmonton, to be that guy.
Yeah, and he has been. And this is what I'm talking about. I think for Edmonton to win tonight, and we just saw the keys, one of those guys, either Terry Vaughn, Sean Millington, Nealon Green by himself, and they also have Donnie Ashley and Fred Bailey who can make big plays all by themselves. One of those guys have to make a big play here tonight for the Edmonton Eskimos to have a chance to win. As a team, they struggled, but individually, they've had huge performances throughout the season.
Nealon Green and the Eskimos begin at the 19. 3 receivers near side on first down. And the ball is loose. The Argonauts might have come up with it. And it looks like the Argos have the ball. Kelly Wiltshire.
Kelly Wiltshire got it. I don't know if Sean Millington ever saw the football.
Maxey applying a little pressure, and Kelly Wiltshire comes up with the ball.
And the other question was, did Kelly Wiltshire get touched when he was down? You see Millington missed the handle there. Now he's down on the ground. I don't know if he got touched if he's on the ground. You have to touch him when he's down. Now Wiltshire recovers the fumble. He jumps over top of Millington to get there. Now does Millington touch him when he's on the ground? Well, the officials were close enough to see. Millington must have reached over and just tapped him.
A good enough effort there. First turnover of the night goes to the Argonauts and sets Toronto up in great position at the Eskimos' 17-yard line. First down. Wilshire's 3rd fumble recovery of the season. And a little room to lumber for Tony Burch. He's down to the 10.
Well, you talk about heading into the playoffs with an attitude, and this guy will bring the attitude. Already 15 yards, and Jim Barker just wants him in there because he gets guys straight. You know, in the huddle, guys start talking about this and that, and they start worrying about things, and then Tony Burse walks in and he goes, hey, everybody just relax, be quiet, let's go get him.
Give me the ball once or twice, or follow me through. 2nd and 3. Argonauts. This is Joseph, and he should have enough for the first down. He's inside the 10 and down near the 7-yard line, wrapped up by Grant Carter. First turnover, giving the Argonauts an opportunity to take a nice lead.
Well, see, when Burse doesn't have the ball, look at 34 is doing right here. See, when he doesn't have it, leading up in the run. Now, there you go. He gets right on the linebacker, kicks him out. Marcelo Simmons is on his... See, he's got roller skates on.
As I said, give me the ball or follow me through. That's
exactly.
the deal.
That's what we're talking
number
about.
34. How close is it? Not close at all. They made it by 3-4 inches.
Great chance for the Argos right now to capitalize on the turnover, come away with the major, and start to get the Edmonton Eskimos a little antsy on their sideline. This is a very important game. We've talked about how important it is for Edmonton. If Jim Barker can get the lead early, Edmonton starts to panic a little bit. He's got him right where he wants him.
Argonauts are set up. 1st and goal to go at the Eskimos 7. 6:35 to go in the opening quarter at Skydome. First again, and he's inside the 5. Carter is there, number 47.
See, this is the luxury that Tony Burse gives you, too. And I'll tell you why, because you're on the 7-yard line with the football, and this is somewhere in this series you got to throw the football. But not if you have Tony Burse in your backfield. Because you know you can get 3, 4, 5 yards of carry from Burse just because of his size alone. So you get first down on your 7-yard line going in. Jay Barker has the luxury of going twice to Burse and probably getting close to the end zone, if not scoring.
A couple that time. This will be 2nd and goal to go. Toronto at the Eskimo 5. 1-1 the score. It's early at Skydome. Barker puts it up. No one home.
I'll tell you what was going on over there. Pinball Clemens was trying to set the pick on Charles Anthony. He didn't know that he was an intended receiver on the play. He wanted to set the pick. Watch Pinball right here go and try and set the pick on Anthony for Daryl Mitchell to come under. See, he doesn't think he's getting the ball. He's trying to set a pick. Mitchell's going to turn out, but Mitchell read something different and stopped. You don't want 2 receivers right beside each other like that.
Tough start for Barker. He's 0 for 4 passing. Pinball didn't know that one was coming, and the Argonauts will settle for a field goal. Van Giancola, 4th in scoring in the CFL. Kicked a couple last week and has hit on 77% of his field goal attempts so far this season. 2 game winners against Montreal and Hamilton. Critical Argonaut wins. Short little chip shot for Giancola, the Argonauts. And the lead at 4-1. CFL Live. Last game of the 99 regular season at Skydome. Slow start for both teams thus far. The Argos in the lead. But Giancola field goal. Eskimos 1st and 10, beginning at the 35. Critical to the Eskimos. And some would say critical to the Argos to set the momentum heading into the playoffs. They know they've got a tough game next Sunday at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton.
Well, especially when Hamilton won. They just won that game earlier this evening. So Hamilton winning, they're going in on a high note. Toronto wants to do the same. Don Matthews still just wants to make the playoffs.
Eskimos will have a playoff spot with a win, but should they lose this one tonight, that would open the door a crack for the Blue Bombers, who have the same record as the Eskimos in the win department with 6. Winnipeg plays in Montreal tomorrow. An Eskimo loss tonight, a Winnipeg win tomorrow, and it's crossover time. The Bombers would make the Western playoffs.
Win or a tie.
Or
they
a
just
tie,
have to beat them in
absolutely,
the points. Yeah, so they don't want to watch this game. I know they don't, because they want to stay focused on their game tomorrow. But you know they're kind of peeking. They walk by every now and then and take a look at the TV.
It's pretty tough not to just take a little peek and find out what was going on. From the 35, first down Edmonton. Elon Green near side, and he has Brett Bailey. short of the first down. One of the new guys on this Eskimo team who really could have made a difference had he been able to stay healthy much of the season, but he's just nicely back in the lineup this week.
Yeah, when you combine Fred Bailey with Donnie Ashley and Terry Vaughn in the same lineup, now you've got a group of players that can make it happen in one play. You throw that guy a hitch pass, whether it be Ashley, Fred Bailey, or Terry Vaughn, dump him a little hitch pass. They can break that for a long gain all by themselves. They're playmakers. And they finally got them all together on the field at the same time, and it's in the most critical game of their season.
And all three are pretty good special teams players, too, on returns. Second down and 4. Over the middle, no one home. And the Eskimos will be punting.
So far, Nealon Green has had pretty good time to throw the football, and right now, Donnie Ashley and those small receivers are getting jammed by a pretty good play in the secondary. See, lots of time for Nealon Green. Maxey comes late, but he's sort of fallen away. Nealon Green has good sight lines, but look at the coverage downfield. Antonio Spawner's all over his guy, Donnie Ashley.
This Argonaut defense is terrific and has been all season long. The biggest problem Toronto has had in winning games this year is the defense has spent a lot of time on the field. The offense has not controlled the football very frequently, so the defense, as good as it is, does get tired after a while. Fleming across his 30, can't get it away. Now Fleming steps out of the pocket and does a pretty good job down to pinball. And he's wrapped up at the 35. Great play by Sean Fleming. A 36-yard punt, but it could have been a lot worse because the Argos almost blocked it.
Sean Fleming just saved an Argonaut touchdown. I'm telling you right now, he just saved 7 points against his team. The pressure's going to come from the left of your screen. It's Daryl Mitchell. Look at that. He is right on Fleming immediately. He pulls it down and somehow on the run kicks it. You know what? We could take a football, John, you and I, and we could try this 10 times. We'd end up on our backside 9 out of them. That's tough to do.
Right.
Run it to your right and kicking the football on the fly. That's not easy.
I think Fleming was watching a little of the World Rugby Championship lately because that was that style of kick there. Argonauts first down just outside the 35 to the 36. Nice play action fake by Barker. Did he get it away? Got a block. And he got a completion. And they call it out of bounds. Catch was made by English, but he couldn't hang inside.
Well, the play action fake worked well for Jay Barker, but he didn't have a receiver immediately. It almost looked like it was too quick. There's the play action fake, and it held the Edmonton defense, but he didn't get Andrew English across the formation in time, and by the time he did get him there, he was too close to the sideline.
Momentum carried English out of bounds.
And Melvin Hunter got pulled way inside on that play action fake.
Argonauts, 2nd and 10. Toronto 37. Faked it again and goes down. Loose ball. Eskimos look to have recovered. It's Melvin Hunter on top of the ball, I do believe. Number 46 with Leroy Blue sharing it with him down there.
Jay Barker
pressure.
Yeah, Jay Barker was trying to pump fake on Andre Kirwan and have him run like a little curl and go down the field. They were trying to go deep, and when he went the pump fake, he got the pressure. Here comes the pressure right up the middle. See, there was the pump fake. The pump fake didn't buy him enough time, and down goes Jay Barker. A.J. Gass on the stunt is right up the middle. See that pump fake? He couldn't get his receiver Andre Kirwan open fast enough. And A.J. Gass makes a big play for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Great situation for the Eskimos here. Turnovers are even at 1. Melvin Hunter has the Eskimo turnover. Edmonton set up at the Argonaut 31-yard line. First down. Green pitches to Millington. And Millington is grabbed as he crosses the 30-yard line. Michael O'Shea, number 50, had Millington by 1 foot. What a week he had against Saskatchewan.
Yeah, last night I was obviously doing that Saskatchewan game in BC Place and talked to Glenn Rogers Jr. and he was on the sideline watching Sean Millington in that game last week versus Saskatchewan when he had 225 yards rushing, and he said, I've never seen Sean Millington run with more intensity. It just seems like he was running with a purpose.
That record by Normie Kwong stood for a long time in the Eskimo history book, 44 years. And it fell to Millington last week. Millington really hasn't had the kind of season that everyone thought he might have since he left the BC Lions, ended up in Winnipeg, and then got on to the Eskimo roster.
You know what, John? He was supposed to be on the lineup. Now, he can't come on the field. This formation, you need Millington on the field.
Well, maybe not. There's Ed Hervey making the catch, but he's on the far side, short of the first down. Marker is down. Penalty flag. We'll check that out for you.
Well, they're playing short. They're playing a man short. See, the formation they had on the field for Edmonton included Sean Millington, and he was over there fixing his equipment. Nealon Green realized that he didn't have the right formation. He didn't have Millington in the formation.
Toronto number 91. Repeat, second down.
So the Eskimos get a break there.
See, this is the formation. Nealon Green is playing with a man short right now. He doesn't have enough guys on the field. Now, it didn't matter because Maxey was offside. See, the initial call was, they thought the initial call was going to be an illegal substitution, but Don Matthews reminded the officials that Millington went on, but then he came back off, so he really didn't substitute.
2nd and 2 Eskimos at the Argonaut 23. This after the turnover. Here's Millington, big hole, and Millington has the Edmonton first down. He's inside the 15-yard line. Sean Millington picking up where he left off last week against a pretty good defense. In fact, the toughest defense in the CFL to run against.
Yeah, and when you think about Sean Millington, you wonder why wasn't he doing this when he was a member of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and when he has the games like he had last weekend against Saskatchewan, and you see what he's capable of, you say, why isn't he doing it all the time? Well, now I think he's finally helping.
Millington, 60 carries, 388 yards all told this year. 29 carries, 225 yards last week. So almost half his carries came last week. Far side, flag down. Green has Fred Bailey, and Bailey is forced out. We'll check the infraction. We've seen a little of the orange nylon on the turf here at Skydome already, and 1:20 remains in the opening quarter.
Offside. Toronto number 95. Repeat, first down.
It will be Brechterfield, Anoki Brechterfield.
Well, that's one for Demetrius Maxey and then one for Brechterfield.
And that's giving the Eskimos,
well, that's, you know,
a certain advantage here. Now we're at 1st and 5, Edmonton.
Well, that's giving them 10 yards without doing anything. Don't have to work for it.
Automatic first downs. Another opportunity here. 3 cracks to make 5. And from the 10-yard line, 3 to hit the end zone. There's the touchdown. Scott Dybert. Into the end zone for the touchdown.
Great cutback. And this is a guy that's not normally going to get the football down there. Scott Dybert is usually the blocking back in the Edmonton Eskimos offense, but he makes a great cutback. Watch how he takes it and then cuts back against the flow. All the Toronto defenders moving to their left, trying to cut off the play at the point of attack, and when they all got over there, Scott Dybert cut it back.
So the Eskimos on the turnover have 6, make that 7 points, and Edmonton into the lead on the Toronto Argonauts in Skydome. It's the Eskimos 8, the Argonauts 4. From 10 yards out, it looked rather easy. Scott Dybert has his first touchdown of 1999, a nice little 10-yard run. Set up on the turnover by the Argonauts. Toronto down by 4.
Scott Dybert got a pretty nice block from, I believe it was Sean Millington. Millington was the workhorse last week, and this is Millington right here. Watch Millington with the cut block right there. He gets the big block to string Scott Dybert.
Kickoff. Mike Pinball Clemens looking for a little room, and not a bad return out near the 40-yard line at the 38.
Yeah, let's take one more look at a real big block. We saw him run the football last week. Watch him block right here. He's going to come down, make the super cut block on the rookie linebacker, Jimmy Clements. Watch this. Cut him. Now that takes the point of attack. There you go. Now Scott Dybert has a cutback lane. Sean Millington doesn't make that block. There's no cutback lane to take.
I went out
So let's see if the Argonauts can get a little something going here. Hardly looking like a playoff team as it stands right now. Jay Barker's had a tough start. First down. Argos just inside the 40. Joseph has about 5.
All year, Jim Barker's philosophy offensively has been to develop a young quarterback in Jay Barker, and that's what he's trying to do. And while he's doing it, just not beat themselves when they're on the field. Don't turn the football over. Jay Barker drops the ball one time. The Edmonton Eskimos put it in for a major. That has been the problem with this offense in Toronto. He doesn't have to win on offense. He just doesn't want to beat himself.
2nd and 5 Argonauts. Should be enough for the first down. Kerwin made the catch, and that could be, it is, the last play of the opening quarter. For the Eskimos on top of the Argonauts by 4.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by Toyota Canada and its dealers.
Well, the difference in this one, pretty simple, really. Edmonton capitalizes on the Toronto turnover, gets 7. Toronto didn't. They only got a field goal. But, you know, a lot of people not giving the Argos much of a chance in the playoffs against Hamilton and Montreal. But with this defense, you know every single game is going to be close, and they'll have a chance every time out.
That's exactly right. If you have a great defensive football team, you always have an opportunity. And with the Toronto Argonauts, it's nothing better than these linebackers. What they do is they will allow you to complete passes. As long as you complete those passes right in front of them, then they come up and make the tackle. Watch Michael O'Shea here. As this play progresses, he doesn't even not look at the ball. He looks at the man. That is exactly how you play the crossing pattern. Take the man out of the play. Best thing about the Argonaut defense, those linebackers, James.
You talked earlier on about the fact that the Eskimos have 2 options. Spread the field or pound it with Millington. Which do you think they'll go to?
You know what? I think they're going to really pound it with Millington game in and or we play after play after play. Watch this play in particular, because they really use his power to his advantage. And this is right at the heart of the Toronto Argonaut defense. He runs over 1, 2, almost 3 people. If you have some elusive linebackers, don't run sideline to sideline. Run right at him. Play physical football, James.
Now, if you were with us earlier, a game that meant nothing, but it was played like it was the Grey Cup game. It was a Grey Cup rematch. Hamilton beating Calgary 31-28. First time they've beaten them in 5 years. And they're on a roll heading into the playoffs.
And that could be bad news for the Toronto Argonauts. Don Matthews and the Eskimos trying to grab that final playoff spot with a win over the Argos here. And the Dandy Don has had a great run in Canadian football until this year.
That's what he's done in his first year. When he's shown up in BC, 11 wins. Shows up in Toronto, 10 wins. And then look at that Edmonton, 1999, 6 wins. And if they don't make the playoffs this year, he really has no one to blame but himself.
And if he'd had some players there in 1992 in Saskatchewan, he would have been way better than 9-9.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that point.
His secondary was a little iffy, wasn't it?
Well, we struggled
I'm kidding. Jay Barker good on only 1 of 6 for 5 yards. Play action here. On first down, here comes the heat. Barker got it away. First one-handed it and barely got back to the original line of scrimmage. But the ball, say the Eskimos, has squirted loose again. And had the Argonauts, in fact, turned it over. Malvin Hunter had one earlier, and that set up the Edmonton touchdown. They ruled that Burst held on long enough to hit the ground.
Well, he finally did get control of the football. There's heads flying in there.
No, that's not a head, that's a helmet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See, it's empty.
Well, I thought that's because you get in the huddle on defense, you say, let's go tear their heads off. That was just a helmet, though.
2nd and 9. Argonauts are down by 4. From the shotgun, here's the heat, and Barker is wrapped up and tossed to the turf. Penalty marker was down. That was Terry Ray coming through, number 28. To get to the Argonaut quarterback.
Terry Ray.
Offside. Toronto number 88. Decline. 3rd down.
Full-out blitz from Edmonton. Here's what they did in the first quarter, and they're sort of feeling their way through this game. Not a whole lot of offense from either team in this one. Time of possession on the Argos side, which is a little bit surprising, but like the guys back in Toronto mentioned in the panel, they said that it was a turnover. The Argos got 3, the Edmonton Eskimos got 7, and that's the difference right now.
Stats brought to you by Castrol GTX. Drive hard. Punting situation for the Argos one more time. A little heat on Prefontaine there. Had someone in his face, got it away without a problem. Here's the giz. Henry Williams out to the 25, 51-yard punt, and Michael O'Shea leading the Argonaut tacklers. So the scoring drive looked like this: 5 plays, 31 yards.
7 points off turnovers. They only needed 5 plays, and they only had to travel 31 yards because Jay Barker put the ball on the ground.
Scoring drive is brought to you by Bucket Call. Call 101-5566 and save without switching. Eskimos have it back, and Edmonton has the lead in a critical game. For Edmonton, trying to grab a playoff spot, Sean Millington for a couple.
Well, it's no secret what the game plan is for Edmonton. They're going to pound Millington up the middle. They're going to keep pounding him. They're going to ride a horse as long as he's hot. 225 games instantly gives you that distinction. You're hot.
225 yards, you mean?
What'd I say?
You said 225 games, and it might be up there.
No,
but the yards.
No, yards. Yeah, yards in again.
Last week.
Yeah.
2nd and 6. Shotgun for Nealon Green. Time to throw. Missed. Bonner was covering on Terry Vaughn, who was the intended receiver.
See, this is a little surprising to me. I mean, Nealon Green in the straight drop back shotgun. Terry Vaughn is the middle guy on the pattern. He's just going to turn around and curl it up. But Nealon Green has really not established himself as a drop back passer in the league yet. I mean, he's best when he's moving the pocket around, when he's rolling out to the outside, and that really stretches the defense, because if you're trying to cover Nealon Green and he's running, you don't know whether or not to come up and try and tackle him or stay back and cover the receivers, and it really puts you in a bind. That's when he's his best.
Sean Fleming from his 15. Pinball waits at the other end. Mike Clemens standing near his 40. Another marker down. And Fleming skies this one. Well covered by Eskimo special teams. Leading the way, Grant Carter, 43-yard punts. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Argonauts when we return to Skydome. Sean Millington broke one out to the 50-yard line. We better get you caught up on exactly what happened here. On the punt, the Argonauts were called offside. Mitchell lined up offside.
Look at his hand. This is Daryl Mitchell right here. Now take a look at his right hand. That's over the line. He lined up offside. Now that gave the Edmonton Eskimos another crack at it and gave them 1 yard away. They gambled on 3rd down. Just saw Sean Millington pick up the 1st down.
So it became 3rd and 1. The Eskimos took the gamble. It paid off, and Edmonton retains possession. 1st down at the 50-yard line, just inside the Edmonton 50. Edmonton on top by 4. Dybert across midfield and into Argonaut territory. Costly error by Mitchell gives the Eskimos possession again. And the Argonaut offense simply hasn't moved the ball.
Chris Morris is lying on the ground, and Donnie Ashley turned around after that play and waved to the training staff immediately. Chris Morris hasn't got up after that last Scott Dybert run. Let's see.
Injury timeout at Skydome. Argonauts are down by 4 on CFL Live. Eskimos like to run the football. That's no secret. They're running right at the heart of this Argonaut defense.
Yeah, you got to really give it to them, because right now they're running right at Jermaine Haley, Demetrius Maxey, and Michael O'Shea. That's the heart of the defense. Chris Morris just now getting to the sideline. He really limped off.
2nd and 4. Edmonton in midfield. Millington is nailed in the backfield. Somehow he managed to pull one tackler with him for a little bit. Cameron Chance was dragged, but Millington is decked there by number 96.
Great play right there. Look at this. This is how you play the run. Get rid of your man, get up the field, and make the big tackle. Cameron Chance just showed Keisham Elmastube how to do it.
So it could have been worse for the Argonauts. They really only give up about 5 yards in field position here on another turnover. Or at least another opportunity. They turn back to the Eskimos. Here's Fleming's kick. It's high and it's coming down over Pinball's head. He'll watch it sail through the end zone. And it'll roll for another single point when Pinball gets back to down it there. And one more to the Edmonton total, a 70-yard single that time. Not much to cheer about for the Argos, but we'll fire them up before it's done.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Gibson's finest 12-year-old, when only the finest will do.
Live from Skydome, the Argonauts are trying to get fired up for the playoffs. So far, they haven't shown us very much.
We said one of the keys had to be the Argos go aggressively on offense, and they really haven't done that. So far, the plan has been run on first down and then try and pick up the first down on second down with a short pass. But I think they got to stretch that defense a little bit.
1st and 10 from the 35. Joseph has 3. Here's David Amber.
Well, John, on that play where you saw the Edmonton tackle Chris Morris get injured, the 8-year vet out of U of T rolled his right ankle. They're working on that. They hope to get him back in the game a little bit later. Taking his spot right now is David Heisman. John?
They won't get much sympathy from the Argonauts. That offensive line on the other side of the field is hobbled by injury. Chris Giaskas is the starting center with Chad Folk on the sidelines with a knee injury suffered last week. So the Argonauts have had to shuffle the deck up front as well. Second down. Barker was on the money and a solid defensive play by Torrey Hunter. Good pass, maybe Barker's best of the night. Looking for Mitchell, and the defensive play made by Hunter.
Torrey Hunter was in the zone. He was the deep guy in the zone, but he had the great make-up speed. That means when the football's in the air, you make up a lot of ground in a hurry, and Torrey Hunter broke on the football, came around Daryl Mitchell, and the key to it was he kept his right hand off Mitchell's back, so he didn't draw the flag.
Argos need a little inspiration here, Glenn. A little enthusiasm.
Well, maybe their defense can give it to them, because that's where they've been getting it from all year.
Prefontaine is in, standing back near his 30-yard line at the 29. Eskimos had a charge on. Prefontaine got it away. Here's Henry Williams wrapped up at the 30 by the first tackler downfield. That was Byron Capers. 46-yard punt. It's the Eskimos by 5 on the Argos. Sports Desk racking back the highlights, and he'll be on as soon as we're done here. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 Pacific, somewhere in that range. NHL highlights from another busy night. The World Golf Championship from overseas, and highlights from the Breeders. All part of Sports Desk with Gino when we're done at Skydome. Eskimos 1st and 10, leading by 5. Elon Green back to throw. He has Millington sliding out of the backfield, and that was read quickly. Millington wrapped up by Antonius Bonner, number 10. He had a little help down there as well. Sometimes it takes a couple of guys to bring down number 25.
Yeah, no question. The first guy usually never does it. The Toronto Argonauts, that's called giving 2 yards and a headache. But you know what? Millington's the type of player that usually dishes out some more headaches than he takes.
3 yards for the Eskimos at 2nd and 7. 8:20 to go till halftime. Edmonton has the lead. A turnover led to the game's only touchdown. Green has time, all kinds of it. Looked for Bailey, had one hand on it, couldn't bring it in.
Alundis Bryce from the free safety position really confused Elon Green. He came right up to the line of scrimmage. Now the safety usually lines up. See him drop back out of there in the middle of the hash mark? The safety usually lines up about 12 or 15 yards deep. See him back up? He's right in the middle of your screen there. So he's backing up. He lined up on the line of scrimmage, 15 yards away from where he usually does. Then on the snap of the ball, he dropped way back out of there. Nealon Green looked at him, wondering what the heck was he doing, and held the ball way too long, and that's why the play didn't work.
Another punting situation. Sean Fleming has a nice average going tonight, 53 yards even. Across the 20, this one is blocked. The Argonauts have an opportunity here. Hunter tried to get it out of bounds and does, or the Argonauts might have had a chance to get it into the end zone. Donald Smith got through, and number 87, Daryl Mitchell, had a chance for the recovery.
No magic from Fleming this time. He had really nowhere to go. We saw him earlier in the game avoid Daryl Mitchell and make the play on the run. This time he had no place to go, and this protection team is just breaking down. They've overloaded one side, and Donald Smith comes right up the middle, extends perfectly. It's great timing, gets his hands on the football. When you're going to block a punt like that, what coaches will tell you is catch the football off the foot of the punter. That's exactly what Donald Smith did, so it doesn't matter that Torrey Hunter knocked it out of bounds for Edmonton because it's still Argonaut football.
Torrey Hunter was able to get out of bounds and get it away from an Argonaut who might have been able to run it into the end zone and make it a turnover and a touchdown in the same play. Argonauts first down inside the 15. Big sequence here for Jay Barker, looking for someone, barely got it away. Kerwin was the intended target. The Argonauts really have to show something on offense on this turnover here, Glenn. Yeah. They really have to show the Hamilton Tiger Cats what they've got on offense. And
well, you can't blame Jay Barker on that last play. He was shaking his right hand. It looked like he hit his hand on the helmet. He's really struggling right now. But
yeah, but those numbers are horrible.
Yeah, they are. But you know what? In the last couple of plays now, I've watched where he's been looking to throw the football, and it's been in man-to-man coverage, and he's looked to Daryl Mitchell both times. Both times Daryl Mitchell was covered by Charles Anthony. So right now he's going to the guy, he's looking at the guy that he should get open. He's not getting open yet.
Second and 10 from the 14. Barker keeps it in his own hands and powers his way down near first down territory. He's almost at the 5-yard line. Spot will be all important to the Argos here. Barker was fired back a couple of yards, and where they mark the ball will be key for Toronto. They're going to be short of a first down.
If you're Jay Barker and you look across the line of scrimmage and see man-to-man coverage, which means everyone's just taking a man, you're going to look to Daryl Mitchell first. And that's the way you got to go. And that's what Jay Barker's been doing. Daryl Mitchell has not been getting open for him.
A little boo here at Skydome as Jim Barker decides 3rd and 1 is not a good gamble right now. He'll settle for a field goal try.
You know why Jim Barker does this makes this kind of call? Because he's got a great defense. And when you have a great defense, all you want to do is keep the score close. So whenever you're in a position to come away with points, you take them.
I don't disagree with this call right now. In a 5-point ball game, get 3 closer. And there's still 6:21 to go in the opening half.
And you have a great defense.
You've said that a couple of times.
Well, I love it because, I played defense.
Giancola has it, and the Argonauts climb a little closer. Another opportunity squandered, but they do get 3. There have been some great linebackers in the history of Canadian football. Great guys in the middle. Not many stand out much more than this guy has since becoming a CFLer, first with Hamilton and then over to the Argonauts. Number 50, Mike O'Shea.
The one thing that people don't talk about with Mike O'Shea is he always leads his team in special teams tackles, or at least he's in the top 3 in special teams tackles. And Michael O'Shea nominated for outstanding player, outstanding defensive player, and outstanding Canadian. There's the outstanding player nominees. And Matt Dunnigan thinks that Michael O'Shea should be the guy that represents the East.
I think Danny McManus should be the guy that represents the East.
Yeah, to me, I think you flip a coin between Damon Allen and Danny McManus. There's the top Canadian nominees. Again, you see Michael O'Shea's name. And
I think he's got a pretty good chance as top Canadian.
Well, you know what? He does coming out of the East. That's a very good chance. And I think Jamie Terrace has a good chance. When you consider Jamie Terrace had to move to the center position after the injury to Pooch Hendrickson early in the year. And then top defensive player, guess who's on it again? Michael O'Shea.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting because that could be a pretty tight race there in the East in particular with Calvin Tiggle and Maurice Kelly, but Calvin Tiggle has had an outstanding year.
Well, I'm saying that that's between David Benefield and probably Calvin Tiggle there if Michael O'Shea goes in the Canadian category. And he's the only guy right now that has the option of going in one of 3.
Eskimos give up 3, and now it's Edmonton first down. 3 receivers near side. Nice fake by Nealon Green. There's room to the near side, and Green takes off. Has about half the distance he needed for a first down, maybe a little bit more, actually.
Well, when you have success running the football in the middle, you can run the play action, and you can fool everyone, and that fooled the entire Toronto defense. They were way inside there.
Just a couple of carries for Green so far. 16 yards total.
Well, you got to wonder if maybe Don Matthews mentioned to Nealon Green in the game, only run if you have to. We want to win this football game. Obviously, that's the priority, but he's coming off injuries, and they don't want to have Nealon Green standing on the sidelines if, in fact, they do make the playoffs.
Like he has for the previous 3 games to this. Sean Millington has the first down for the Eskimos, continuing to roll along outside the 50-yard line and across.
See the series that Nealon Green has going right now. One time he'll give it to Millington right here, but each time he comes to the outside. Watch how he carries through with the fake each time. See, he gives it to Millington this time, but see how he carries through and he runs to his left? Well, the next time he may pull that football out of Millington's stomach and keep it himself around the corner.
Eskimos have a first down and a 2-point lead. It's at the 50-yard line of Edmonton right now. Shotgun for Nealon Green. Easy target. Another first down for Sean Millington, who was all alone in the middle and has better than 10. About 11 yards for Sean Millington.
Leo Groenwagen, the veteran, does a nice job on Roger Dunbrecht to just kick him out, keep him off his quarterback. Good position. You know one thing with the veterans on the offensive line, they're rarely going to make a mistake with their technique.
And to his right, Chris Morris back in the ballgame. He was shaken up earlier. Another first down for the Eskimos. And a big hit by Adrian Smith.
He knocked his glove off. It was so big. Adrian Smith had to put the glove back on. Michael O'Shea has been on the sideline throughout this defensive series. You know, and you wonder, is Jim Barker thinking about next week a little bit and some of his key players?
A little rest here and there.
Yeah, and you just, you know, you play him every other series maybe.
Second and 5. There's the fake you were talking about. He sent Millington over the middle, and Green took it himself.
Yeah, see, this is the series, and this is where the defense keeps guessing because they don't know whether or not Nealon Green's going to keep the football or he's going to run with it. See, last time he gave it to Millington there. This time he keeps it and he goes out, and Millington is the lead blocker. Big Leo Groenwagen on the backsides. Make sure that Roger Dunbrecht can't come across and, with his speed, have anything to do with that play.
On this series, the Eskimo offense is making the Argonaut defense look very ordinary. They run it well. 3 minutes to halftime. Millington straight up the middle this time. Brechterfield, or Cameron Chance making the tackle, I should say, 96. Ball squirted loose, but it will remain with the Eskimos. It's 9-7. Edmonton leading Toronto and threatening to add to that total on CFL Live. Canadian Airlines at the half with James and Christopher and Matthew.
Well, there's a little question mark over Matt Dunnigan because he's got to make the trip from Hamilton and he's got to get back there in time. So just put that question mark in there.
He'll make it.
He'll make it.
He'll make it. He was there today watching the Ticats beat the Stampeders and get ready for next week against the Argonauts. Big hole opens up here for Nealon Green. And the Eskimos are running at will. That was 2nd and 5, and Green has another first down.
John, you mentioned that the Edmonton Eskimo offense is looking pretty good in this series, and they are, but they've been playing this whole series, other than that one play, without Michael O'Shea on defense. And it would be like this. You could have the best body in the world, like the big arms and the huge chest and just the physical fit. If you take the heart out, the thing just falls down. And that's what you do if you take Michael O'Shea out of that defense.
7-play drive continues for the Eskimos. Edmonton in the lead. Here's Nealon Green on first down. He's got open field to his right, and he'll take off away from one. He gets about 5 yards. Demetrius Maxey got over to help with the tackle along with Byron Capers. He's had a terrific year, number 91 for the Argonauts.
Well, him and Jermaine Haley together up front, I mean, they get the good push in the middle, and all year long, Demetrius Maxey and Jermaine Haley have demanded double teams. So when we talk a lot about Michael O'Shea like we have, you got to give credit to Maxey, because this is the guy, if he's getting double teamed, then no one can go out and block Michael O'Shea.
Second and long for the Eskimos. Green looks to put it up. He looks to the end zone, wide open, no! One hand on it, but one hand couldn't bring it in. Nealon Green did not miss by very much. Terry Vaughn was in behind everyone, wide open, and Green couldn't quite get it there.
You don't often get a chance like this where you get a broken coverage by the Toronto Argonauts. They both stayed on the short receiver, both defenders stayed on the short receiver, and Terry Vaughn wide open.
One hand zone, just a little stickier.
And Nealon Green overthrew him by about 3 inches. Nealon Green knew immediately that he might have put a little bit too much mustard on that hot dog.
Argos dodge a bullet, giving up just a 3-pointer there with 1:44 to go till halftime. Now, at halftime, how would you like to make 100 Gs?
Well, how do I got to do that?
Frances So gets an opportunity. She's wearing number 11 in Argonaut colors, and from 35 yards out, all she has to do is put it through the uprights.
Well, judging by the technique, we need to get a coach down there to help her out now. 35 yards is quite a ways. You got to keep her head down, concentrate. As she concentrates, she focused. Oh, well, I saw a little focus there. There's a little intensity right at the end there.
Anyway, Pizza's put the money up, and Francis gets a crack at it at halftime. 100 Gs. Argonauts trying to get something rolling here. That could be it. Joseph makes the catch. Puts a pretty good hit on the tackler. Chris Hardy. A.J. Gass comes up to make the tackle, but Joseph held on to the football, and Hardy felt his shoulder pads.
Last night, Damon Allen, the last series of the first half, went into the hurry-up, and it really got him going. It got him a major, and Jay Barker's doing it now here tonight.
Johnny Burse. A flag is down as Burse gets inside the 35-yard line. We'll check the infraction first. A little more like it for the Argonauts if this one isn't coming back. And I think it might well be coming back.
Procedure. Trotter number 52. Still first down.
Craig Hendrickson. This is where you have penalties coming back. Watch Chris Hardy, the safety. He's calling the plays in the middle of your screen right here. Now watch this. This is what he sees on this play. He sees a truck coming right at him, and he gets him down. That's not easy.
Argonauts look at 1st and 15 instead. And it hit the defender in the back, and there's no flag, and Suter would like to see one.
Well, I can't believe there's no flag.
Target was English, defender was Fogle. And there seemed to be a little hand-to-hand combat going on now.
Well, I don't know that Fogle looked back to the football. And if he didn't look back, he sure put his hands up. I mean, he's the inside guy. Now, right here is the coverage one-on-one. Now, they're hand fighting down there. There's no penalty there. You can push and you can pull. But watch. Now, does he look back to the ball? He's screening and pushing. He doesn't even look back. The ball hits him right in the back. You can call screening there.
I saw you throw your flag. Unfortunately, it doesn't go against the Eskimos. This one isn't. Long gone. Bad pass by Barker, actually under some pressure, and he really might have just fired to save himself.
This goes back to what we talked about earlier, John. Just Daryl Mitchell has been the guy that Barker's been looking at, and they just are not on the same page here tonight. And this is not good news for an Argonaut team that's heading into the playoffs. You see how Mitchell goes into the middle and the ball goes to the outside. I mean, they're just not on the same page. There's two ways to run the seam pattern. You go straight down the field, or else you bend it into the middle. That time Mitchell bent it. Jay Barker threw it straight.
Argonauts have not looked very crisp. We talked about their problems along the offensive line with adjustments being made up there because of the injury to Chad Folk. Prefontaine left foots this one down to the 5. Henry Williams trying to escape and wrapped up at last. 51-yard kick, and Tony Burse leading the Argonaut tacklers. $100,000 on the line.
Gizmo stopped on the play.
Style getting any better? No. Francis.
Francis has got to concentrate here because he might just have to will this one through. The technique.
First and 10 Edmonton from their own 15-yard line.
This is good though, $100,000.
Dan Giancola over there. He's not doing anything right now. He can spend a minute or two with her.
I don't know. I don't like the chances, to be honest.
He's looking at you, and you're
looking at the technique.
Well, she's got a minute and a half to practice, basically. Eskimos first down inside the 15. Millington pounds his way for a couple. Now, Dan, get over there and help Francis out. Give her a little bit of a pointer. Here we found Dan down there now. Okay, Dan, look. Just over behind you there, Francis is struggling with her technique.
See, Dan doesn't want to look at bad technique. You don't want to look at bad technique because you want to get it in your head. You know, so Francis is over there and he's trying to get, see, she's getting psyched up, and you see it in the eyes. See, the intensity building.
Fleming might be able to help out, although he struggled a little bit at times this year.
Well,
I talked to Giancola because Fleming's only hitting on 50% of his. Giancola is about 77%. I guess the thing we really wouldn't want to see is Fleming go over and ask Francis for a little help.
No.
56 seconds to halftime. Eskimos 2nd and 5. Play again this time. Green looked to throw it and then dove into the turf. He's wrapped up by Wiltshire, number 26. And so the Argos may have an opportunity here for a couple of plays and maybe a chance at a field goal with a decent return.
Well, I think they have a great opportunity because the guy who's going to catch this punt is one of the best all time returning punts.
Number 31?
Yeah.
The pinball.
And at any time, he can break one. So even if he gets a first down out of this punt return, the Argos are now looking at getting the ball around the 45-yard line. That's the Edmonton 45-yard line. Now they're one first down away from a field goal attempt, and they'll probably get it with around 30 seconds left, which is about 5 or 6 plays.
Fleming is trying to take as much time off the clock as he possibly can. It ticks down to 33 now. Had one blocked earlier. And here's the pinball right at midfield. Big opportunity for the pinball on home turf. Not bad on the return. Pretty good move on 30. Charles Asman, and he was dropped down by Philip Gerard. So the pinball with a decent return after a 36-yard punt.
See this move by pinball? This is why I don't want him to retire. See that? I mean, that is playing the game at a different level that everyone else is playing the game at, and that's what Pinball Clemens has played all his life.
We should say that he hasn't suggested he would retire at the end of this season, although he is contemplating retirement after 12 great years. Barker on the money, and he's in field goal range, and the catch by Andrew English. Well, if English comes up with a big one, and Barker was right on the money.
Yeah, and if he hurries, he gets a couple plays off. They may be able to take one crack at the end zone, which would be a huge lift for this team going in at halftime. You got about 3 plays with 18 seconds left if you hurry.
Go for the gusto every once in a while. Something the Argonaut offense hasn't been able to do this year, and that is whistled down.
Craig
Flags
Henderson moved
everywhere.
Again. Sorry, John. Craig
Second
Hendrickson.
time on Hendrickson?
Yeah, he moved again. I believe it was him on the outside, or it may have been Dwayne Morgan. Either way, they're having problems with their offensive line. They've taken away some big plays in this first half. Think to the Paul Mazzotti catch early in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was out around midfield.
The big run by Tony Burse that was called back because of an offensive line penalty. And it's been a position that they have struggled with all season, and it's been because of injuries.
Finally, they got the offensive line back about 3 weeks ago, back to where they really wanted it to be.
Procedure. Toronto number 69. Still first down.
Well, that's
62.
Dave, is it 62?
Yeah, I think
he's saying 69. 69 is Mudge.
I'm pretty sure it was 62.
First and 15, 14 seconds to go. The Argos are in field goal range, but they'd like to hit the end zone. Barker has it picked up by Fogle, and Fogle has room to the far side. That'll end it for the Argonauts' hopes of getting a little closer heading to halftime. Barker has thrown too many interceptions this season.
Well, Jay Barker might as well have sent a memo to the Edmonton defense that he was going to throw to the left side of the field.
Mazzotti was the intended receiver.
He might have just written, he might as well have just wrote it down on a piece of paper and just said, here's memo, I'm throwing it over to Mazzotti. And Fogle said, thanks for the memo, I'm taking it the other way. You can't look all the way over there like you did. You got to look off the defensive back, look to the opposite way, and then come back to that backside. Jim Barker just saw 3 points at least slip away.
Fourth interception of the year for Anthony Fogle. And not much to smile about for the Argonauts on offense so far tonight. They'll let Millington run out the clock. That's the end of the opening half. The Eskimos have the lead. The Argonauts were not really very impressive offensively as they try and get ready for the playoffs, and the Eskimos just try to get there.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the half. Brought to you by Canadian Airlines, a member of One World.
Well, he always did have good wheels. The well-traveled Matt Dunnigan has made it back from Hamilton in record time. Now, suppose the only thing I can fairly ask you to comment on is traffic on the QEW. But did you get a chance to listen to the game anyway?
Sure did. Bob, Ratina, and Pete Martin kept me company on the way over, and God, it smells like free safety in here. Y'all been cheating on me? Y'all been cheating on me, haven't you? Suter's been here.
He did make an appearance.
He did make an appearance. I knew a free safety was in the area.
You're still our favorite.
Thanks, man. Hey, great game over in Hamilton, and we got a good one going here. It looks like Jim Barker's emptying his bench, trying to save some people, get ready for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who really got their game going this week against Calgary. We saw it there. It was windy conditions out there, but Danny McManus took over that game and hit his receivers and played with experience and poise. Something that the Toronto Argonauts could use behind the center right now, James.
Chris, what do you think of this one? The Argos, again, the offense just not taking advantage of really a super defensive effort.
It's pretty easy. They didn't capitalize when they had the opportunities on the turnovers. And right now, if Edmonton runs the ball right at the heart of that defense between Maxey and Haley, they're going to win this football game. They did it in the first half. We'll see if they can do it in the second half, James.
And somewhere in Montreal, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are going, come on, Argos, get the offense going. The Bombers, of course, need a Toronto win to keep their hopes alive. The Edmonton D putting the heat on Jay Barker and company, and they have a 5-point lead at the break. Well, if Chris Schultz knew he could get rich kicking field goals, his career might have gone an entirely different direction. Argo fan Francis So at Skydome with a chance at $100,000. Here again are John and Glenn.
What the goalposts look like to Francis right now. From 35 yards out, they get skinnier the farther away you get from the goal line. But, as you say, there's a chance.
Well, it's a long shot.
Okay. Now, what you're going to do is watch me.
She's got a great coach out there.
That's a long way, isn't it?
Look at that. That's what it looks like to the kicker. Now Francis, this is where the kicker takes her steps. Now she's 1, 2, 3.
Dan's got her set up.
She's got her set up. Now all you have to do is run through the football. Come on, Francis.
She's going to think about this for a while longer.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't take it.
All see the replay, but we'll rack it back here. Francis kind of missed it, didn't she?
Yeah, she just, I think, took her eye off the football just for that last second. The form was good. Then you can see the dejection. You just...
Pizza guy? Oh, yeah. All right, pizza. Yes.
Well, she got a free pizza anyway.
But seriously, what would you want more, $100,000 or a hug from a big inflatable pizza guy? That is special. And if you ever need a squib kick artist, Francis might be perfect. 12-7, Eskimos lead the Argos at the half, playing for their playoff lives. Second half coming up.
Don Matthews has the lead at halftime. Jim Barker has no offense whatsoever. And that might just gift wrap a playoff spot for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, you can see the concern on both coaches' faces. Don Matthews concerned about getting in the playoffs. Jim Barker concerned about getting some offense for the playoffs.
Second half is underway. Donnie Ashley ready to return for Edmonton out across the 20. Stopped in his tracks there. Interesting return as he gets to about the 30-yard line and runs in to a pile of Argonauts led by Fred Perry. Talk about offense for the Argonauts. It's non-existent. Net yards just 79.
Yeah, that's bad. And usually when you lead in this category, you also lead in this one. You see, and that's why Edmonton has better time of possession than Toronto, because they're running the football successfully. And that Argo offense, when you're under 100 yards for a whole half of football, you got to go back to the drawing board.
We've said it time and again that the Eskimos run effectively. They've done that in the first half against a very solid Argonaut defense. Millington has exploded for a couple like that. There's another first down. Alundis Bryce made the tackle. Numbers on the quarterbacks, not really terrific. Green 4 of 9 for 27. Jay Barker 4 of 14 for 47. The one interception against the Argos.
I remember the last time we saw 9 attempts from one quarterback in a half of football in the CFL.
Jay Barker has not been able to move the Argonauts when given the opportunity. Eskimos at the 45, first down. Green puts it up. Has Millington sliding out of the backfield. He's got at least 7, maybe 8 yards. Just the one touchdown thus far in this ball game. Came off a turnover.
Jay Barker put the ball on the ground, and then Scott Dybert made him pay for the turnover when he cut back and found the end zone. The only touchdown in the first half. The Argos had some opportunities for points. If they had penalties, took them out of field goal range, and then an interception by Jay Barker right at the end of the half took away a chance at a field goal.
2nd and 3. Eskimos out across their 50-yard line. Millington should have the first down. He ran into Jermaine Haley and Demetrius Maxey.
You know, Jim Barker's got some concerns on his hands right now. I mean, this is a team that's heading into the playoffs, and I don't see any emotion on the football field right now. I mean, Jim Barker, and I'm not talking about emotion from the coach.
That's a worried guy right there.
But he is worried. But, you know, Michael O'Shea's on the sideline and he's resting. That's fine. But the guys on the field right now are not playing like the Argos have played defense all year, with a lot of enthusiasm, flying around and gang tackling the football.
Eskimos have put together back-to-back first downs, and Millington is more than halfway to another one. Sean Millington has found a way to run in the last couple of weeks, or at least maybe they've just given him the football more frequently.
You know, Don Matthews may look concerned, but when he sees that Michael O'Shea has got his helmet off and is standing on the sideline opposite him, he's got to have a good feeling in his stomach about this football game and his chances in the playoffs. Remember, Don Matthews wins tonight, he's in. It doesn't matter what happens in the Winnipeg game tomorrow.
And he has the lead right now by 5. The Argonauts are not threatening to take it away from him on their play so far tonight. Here's another big hole for Millington. He's inside the 35. Artavius Houston finally getting over to make the tackle.
Coming into this game, the Argonauts had given up 92 yards a game on the ground all year. 17 weeks, and they've only given up. Yeah, and guess who's coming back on to put an end to this? Now, this is enough of that. You know, there's also a lot of pride out there. Forget about this game not meaning anything. If you're going to run through our defense like that, Michael O'Shea is going to be back on the field.
And there he is right in the middle of things with the Argonauts. Looking at 1st and 10 Edmonton from the 35. Nealon Green, shotgun, puts it up. And Millington makes the catch. Flags are down, and Millington better than halfway to a first down again on the receiving end of a Nealon Green pass.
Ineligible receiver, Edmonton number 25. Repeat first down.
So he lined up incorrectly, obviously.
He's got to be moving towards the line of scrimmage. If he's 5 yards outside the tackle, it's kind of a complicated rule, but he puts himself ineligible if he's not moving towards the line of scrimmage on the snap of the ball.
Don Matthews needs a win, and the Eskimos are in. Nealon Green needs big yards here. Far side. He has Ed Hervey, and Hervey is wrapped up immediately.
Now,
It was 1st and 20.
You know what? Michael O'Shea had nothing to do with that play, because that was just a great close by Adrian Smith to the outside. But Michael O'Shea came into the game. See, here's Michael O'Shea. Now, he's called the defense, and his presence in the huddle have all of a sudden changed the tempo of the defense, because watch the break on the ball to the outside. Now, that's how this Argo defense has played all year, aggressively. And that's what Michael O'Shea does. Even though he has nothing to do with the play, he comes in and calls the play, and everyone goes, whoa, he's back. Okay, let's go.
And that created a 2-yard loss. This is 2nd and 22. 3rd quarter just nicely underway. Green tried to find Hervey again, and that play went astray. So they backed themselves out of field goal range, or at least into a long field goal drive.
Now it changes. Nealon Green knows it. When 50's on the field, it changes things for him. And when O'Shea came on the field, he ended up losing a bunch of yardage. And you know, they blitzed Nealon Green on that 2nd down play, and he had no one to throw to.
Sean Fleming is out there, and this is a punting situation for the Eskimos, averaging 48-8.
Fleming has had one blocked and one almost blocked already in this game, so I'm sure the Argos will be coming once more.
Eskimos on top by 5. It's 12-7 at Skydome. Charge was on again from Mitchell. Fleming got it away, and it trickles down to the 2-yard line as Smith lets it roll out there. Pretty good kick, but Smith had a play on it. Fleming nails the Argonauts deep. Is it about time to put the hook on Jay Barker?
Well,
bring in Jimmy Kemp.
I don't know if it is just yet. I mean, he hasn't played well, no question about that, and you wonder why Jimmy Kemp may not be in the, or should be in the football game by now. But you know what? You certainly don't want to damage Jay Barker's confidence heading into the playoffs.
But you've got to have an offense that moves the football a little more effectively than this Argonaut offense. Tony Burse had the whole close up and found a little room to the outside, then was grabbed by Grant Carter.
Well, you make a point, John. I mean, you got to have some offense to win the football game, and right now the Argos haven't shown any offense, and they're playing against the defense, the Edmonton Eskimos, that ranks 7th against the run, giving up 144 yards a game, and 7th against the pass, giving up close to 300. So it's not like this has been a stellar defense here in Edmonton.
2nd and 3. Burse was nailed and got away. He might be close to the first down. We'll see where they spotted. Eric Johnson ran into him there, but a little too far for the gamble here as Burse is stopped short on 2nd and 3. There's a worried guy. Jim Barker talking to Jimmy Kemp a couple of weeks ago when they were getting ready to make this playoff run with 2 games against the Bombers. Barker was talking about not only a run to grab a playoff spot for sure, but a run to make sure they were ready for the playoffs. They had a pretty good situation at that point, or at least they figured that they were going to play the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the playoffs and had to get a little bit ready. Eskimos will have great field position no matter where Henry Williams winds up here. He's at the 45 and dropped there after a 41-yard punt. Eskimos have the lead and they have the football. Back at Skydome, CFL Live, final game of 1999 in Toronto. Eskimos trying to solidify a hold on a playoff spot in the West. The Argonauts trying to get ready for their semifinal in the East. Edmonton continues to run at will against this Argonaut defense. Following Groenwagen, it's Sean Millington one more time.
Yeah, you wonder if Leo Groenwagen should have maybe been the offensive lineman nominee. He's really played well this year and had a couple of back-to-back great games. I mean, he's up there playing against a great defensive line, and that time took out Fred Perry. But he's had a good time tonight with Demetrius Maxey and Jermaine Hayter.
Second down, less than a yard to go for the Eskimos. Edmonton leading 12-7. No problem getting the first down as this drive continues for Edmonton. O'Shea or no O'Shea in the middle of things there for the Argonaut defense. And again, when you talk about an offense that doesn't move the football effectively, the defense does have a tendency to get a little bit tired. And the Argonaut defense has been on the field for quite a bit of this ballgame.
Yeah, but I still think the biggest concern for Jim Barker right now has to be the lack of intensity in his football team. I mean, they're
both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they're both sides of the ball. They're inside the stripes right now, and they really have been lying down.
They're on the ropes, the Argonauts. And again, the Eskimos are able to run. Scott Dybert that time. Stopped by Fred Perry. About 5 yards.
I mean, Nealon Green doesn't have to throw the football. If this Argonaut defense doesn't decide they want to play like they played all year, they could just continue to hand it to Scott Dybert and Sean Millington all game in Edmonton.
Eskimos are in field goal range now. And already with a 5-point lead. Nealon Green fakes it. Opportunity for the interception, knocked down by Maxey. And it floated to the ground with a couple of Argonauts standing around, and they couldn't quite get to the ball.
Well, Maxey knocked it down, and then he tried to get it. He did the best he could to get it. He just didn't have long enough reach. Pretty good jump there to knock it out of the air, but then
What he really didn't have was personal hang time. He couldn't get up in the air and stay up there.
Yeah, he could slip a credit card under that jump, under that vertical.
6:22 to go in the third quarter. Sean Fleming is in, good on 1 of 1 so far from 25 yards out. This will be a chip shot for Fleming from the 35. Three more for the Eskimo total. 15-7 now. Here's David.
Yeah, John, Glenn, you guys keep talking a little bit about there not being the emotion on the Argo sideline. That's partially true. There is some emotion. Unfortunately, it's been negative emotion. After Jay Barker threw that interception in the second quarter, near the end of the second quarter, Paul Mazzotti stormed off, threw his helmet on the ground. He's clearly frustrated with what's going on the offensive side. And Tony Burse also had a few choice words for the young quarterback.
See, this is not what you want heading into the playoffs. You don't want guys pointing fingers. You don't want guys yelling at each other, especially from the offensive side to the defensive side of the ball. I mean, that's the last thing you want heading into the playoffs. You consider that Hamilton won tonight.
And looked very impressive doing so.
Yeah.
Stampeders played a good ball game, too. That was down to the final field goal.
Hey, they won that game. They're on a high right now. They played pretty well, and it was a physical football game and looked very intense. And this one here, I mean, I haven't seen the Argos play this poorly defensively all season.
They have struggled on offense most of the way. And in fairness fairness to Toronto, there are injuries along the offensive line that have created a bit of the problem. Let's see if pinball can ignite the Argonauts here with a good return. Out across the 30, and a pretty good hit down there on the pinball. Ran into Justin Ring. There's talk that number 88, Paul Mazzotti, the Argos' all-time leading receiver with over 8,000 yards, 8,767 to be exact. And the pinball, Mike Clemens, are very close to the line and thinking about retirement after this season is done. Both have had outstanding careers. So this might be their last night to shine on home turf.
Well, both those guys have just given football fans across this country so many great memories throughout their career. Paul Mazzotti, 4,000-yard seasons. Think about the 1997 season for Pinball Clemens, 122 catches. I mean, I remember the game against BC in that year in 97 where Pinball made 15 catches, over 100 yards in one game. I mean, it was a magnificent season in 97. Was the outstanding player in the league.
And 2nd and 5, Mitchell makes the catch, and we haven't seen much of Daryl Mitchell this evening. 9 games in 1999 for Mitchell, 598 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Well, we've talked about Mitchell. He hasn't been on the same page with his quarterback all game. Finally, it looks like they went in at halftime and talked it over. This is his own defense, and Mitchell is the under guy.
Parker takes it back and looks for room to the far side. And he should have the first down himself. Parker's a pretty good running quarterback, wrapped up by Marcelo Simmons. And really, that's the first time he's run with authority in this one tonight.
Yeah, and you know that kind of run, that may be the kind of run that ignites his team a little bit. When the quarterback takes off and takes on the hit. See, Jay Barker took off. Now watch, he could have hook slided, but he didn't. He lowered his shoulder and took on the tackler, Marcelo Simmons. The way he aggressively attacked that tackler, that may ignite this offense.
There's the pinball, Mike Clemens, and that's another Argonaut first down. A little something to cheer about. Flags go down at the end of the play, so there might be more yardage being added to the Argos.
Yes.
Pinball says he grabbed my face mask.
That's right. Pinball comes in there. See, he sees the quarterback, Jay Barker, get all excited. See, Jay Barker.
Major foul. Face mask. Edmonton number 8. First down.
So they're going to add on some yardage. Now, here's what I'm talking about. You go in the huddle as a player. You see your quarterback not hook slide, but take the hit like Jay Barker did the play before. Everyone says, listen, if he's going to do it, man, let's go. I'm going to do it too. And Pinball took off running there and drew the flag as well.
Argonauts are set up at the Eskimo 20 with a chance here. High snap. Giaskis is the starting center. Barker can't find the handle, and they lose big time on that.
Well, as quickly as you can build momentum.
Yeah, you can lose it. You can lose it. Jim Barker has had a tough season of highs and lows as a rookie head coach in the CFL.
I'm going to tell you where the problems for Jim Barker have stemmed all year, and it's no different tonight. This is really, it's really an indication of what this whole season has been like offensively for the Argos.
Yeah, that was John Heimbach who put it over Barker's head. Playing in his first game for the Argonauts. The Argos have got problems at center with Chad Folk on the sidelines. Better this time. Pinball makes the catch, makes the turn. Pretty nice play, but he had a long way to go on second and a mile. Robert Brown made the tackle.
He had a long way to go, but it was positive yardage, and it put the Argos in better field goal position. It was a big play by Pinball because you get positive yardage. Now you're looking at, rather than having a 50-plus field goal attempt, you move it up now and you're in about 43 or 4. Quick math there.
You were a math major at SFU, weren't you?
No, nowhere near. That was the class I skipped to go to football practice. And by the way, I don't recommend that to anybody. Go to math class. All the kids listening, go to class.
Yeah, you don't want to end up as a color commentator, do you?
No.
Prefontaine puts it down. Giancola puts it through. Argos get a little back. They're only down by 5. 2:56 to go, third quarter. It's on the line for the Eskimos tonight, and the Argos fight back. Giancola on the money. A little more life in the Argos. Perhaps we're ready for a finish after all. After the game, the turning point. Brought to you by Super 8. Chad Folk on the left there is the only constant, the only player on the Argos offensive line that had been there all season long. That was until last week. He's out for the season. The Argos' top offensive lineman of 1999.
They started the year with a whole bunch of penalties. The guy standing beside him is the newcomer, Jonathan Heimbach, out of USC.
And Heimbach put one over his quarterback's head a few moments ago. Great season for Chad Folk, and he'll go up against Carl Coulter, Okeke, and Perez in the East for the top offensive lineman nomination. Headed toward Grey Cup week.
I like Jamie Terrace and Carl Coulter in that group. Zumo Okeke's had a big year as well, but I think when you move Terrace into the inside and make him play center, and he has a great year, that's degree of difficulty there takes it up a notch.
2nd and 7 for the Eskimos. Elon Green goes to the shotgun and unloads. Far side, he has Ed Hervey, 81. And the Eskimos are close to a first down. They haven't moved the ball effectively through the air, but that was a pretty good play there as Don Matthews hopes his Eskimos can hang on to this one and grab the playoff spot, the last one in the CFL West.
It's the kind of game that Don Matthews likes because it's the kind of game that Elon Green excels at, and that's running the football. Believe it or not, coming in this game, the Edmonton Eskimos were leading the league rushing the football. It wasn't Montreal with Mike Pringle or the BC Lions with Robert Drummond. It was the Edmonton Eskimos because of Elon Green. And when Elon Green's running, they have success, and right now they've got it going on the running game.
Eskimos 1st and 10, 46-yard line. Green gives it to Millington, and he's got another 5 yards anyway. Kelly Wiltshire wrapped him up after that. Three-time Defensive Player of the Week, Kelly Wiltshire, and one of the real solid citizens on that Argonaut defense.
Well, yeah, he could have been another nominee. I mean, there's a whole group of linebackers in the Toronto Argonauts that could have been nominees for Outstanding Defensive Player, Rookie, or Outstanding Canadian. Wilshire could have been a Canadian or a defensive nominee.
2nd and 4. Eskimos trying to get across midfield. Green looks to put it up. No one open. And he had to put that one into the turf with no one widely open. Ashley might have been the closest to the target, but Green simply missed.
Yeah, he has a little rust on him. He hasn't played for a while, and he has a little rust when it comes to drop back. When he's in the pocket and he's in the shotgun, he really hasn't had a whole lot of success in this game.
18 seconds to go in the third quarter.
If they do win this football game and go to the playoffs, they're going to be heading to
Calgary. Eskimos have used 4 quarterbacks this year because of injury. Smith is back. With his kick from Fleming as Fleming steps across the 40 to nail a high one. Adrian Smith tripped up as he crosses the 25, gets to the 27, just a 38-yard punt. 1 quarter to go. The Eskimos have a 5-point advantage on CFL Live from Skydome.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by Toyota Canada and its dealers.
Well, it is still close. The outcome's still very much up in the air, but a frustrating game to watch, especially if you're a Winnipeg Blue Bomber, because, of course, the Argos, well, they don't have any motion, really. They don't have any execution, and it's the Bombers' fate, really, in their hands, because if Edmonton wins, the Bombers are done, Chris.
Well, guys, help me out here, because I'm missing something. Our first game, we see Hamilton and Calgary really go at it in a game that meant absolutely nothing in the standings. We saw some passion, some enthusiasm, some hustle, some great passes, everything in the game that makes it exciting in football. football. Second game, Toronto Argonauts. I know they're settling people. I don't see anything even close to that. I understand Jim Barker's trying to save people, but the players, it's up to them to really put their best foot forward. I don't think they're doing that tonight. In Edmonton, how do you evaluate them, Matt?
Well, I think they're feeling the pressure of having to win a must-win game this season. They win this one, they're in the playoffs. We know that. Edmonton, they're pressing. They're inconsistent at best. And then on the other side of the ball, Toronto, offensively, they've been inconsistent all year. So I don't know what your expectations are, Chris,
maybe, yeah.
because this team has been struggling to put it together all season long. And defensively, when you start taking some key players out of there, inconsistency is going to run rampant. So we're just seeing a lot of different things going on right now, and it's a lackluster football game with a lot on the line.
The game you called earlier, which meant nothing, was a much better game, a terrific game, in fact. The Hamilton Tiger Cats pulling it out off the Calgary Stampeders. Danny McManus throwing for over 5,000 yards, first to do so since Doug Flutie. Ticats will host the Argos in the Eastern Semi. Calgary hosts Edmonton or Winnipeg in the West Semi.
Back at Skydome, a quarter to go on this 1999 CFL season. NFL on TSN. Titans versus the Dolphins. Pre-game, 7:30 tomorrow. I'm taking the Titans.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my pick. One of my picks.
Now, I've seen your picks lately. I'm going with the Dolphins. Can I take it back?
Okay, I'm in a bit of a slump, but
what
I'm
are you,
coming
1
back.
for 8 in the
Nah, hey, wait a minute. I'm coming back now.
I'm going with the Dolphins.
They're on a 4-game winning streak. They've been doing it on defense, but Steve McNair can run, and I think that's going to stretch that Dolphin defense out a little bit. I'm liking the Titans on this one.
Yeah.
So if you're doing your pool, circle the one I circled, the Titans.
I'm wondering about you and your picks lately. You had a hot start, and that was beginner's luck.
I'm coming back.
Parker has Mitchell. Nice play development for the Argos. Mitchell finally showing a little something, but we've got a marker down. Wrapped up by Grant Carter. We'll see what the infraction was.
Holding. Toronto number 88. Repeat first down.
Well, let's check out the numbers through 3 quarters, brought to you by Castrol GTX. Drive hard. 119 net yards for the Argonauts. Simply not enough for a team headed for the playoffs.
No, not good at all. And when you look at the time of possession, I think it's a bit misleading because the Argonauts have 20 minutes with the football, but because they've had so many penalties, they keep getting to start over again, but they start over again 20 yards back.
And that's what they're doing right now. 1st and 20. Argonauts now forced back inside the 20-yard line. Jay Barker shovels it ahead for Tony Burse. Burse makes a nice move and gets almost half of it back. Wrapped up by Robert Brown. Sorry.
Pretty good improvisation by Jay Barker, just trying to make something happen. Steps up in the pocket. He knows he can't reload and try and throw this one down to the field. So, hey, let's just do something positive and do that little underhand shovel pass. Trying to make some positive yards to Tony Burse. You still got, you know, you don't have to make on first down when you get a penalty. You don't have to get it all back in one play.
Argonauts are still waiting for one great play from this offense.
So are we
here tonight. Yeah, it'd be nice to see. 2nd and 12. That might be all right. It should be a first down if they rule it a catch far side. Andre Kerwin comes up with it.
Well, this is an example of why they want to develop Jay Barker. I mean, that ball was thrown a long way. It was thrown on time to the outside where only Kerwin could catch it. Right? And when you see a play like that, you think the guy has great potential.
Barker takes out to his left, throwing on the run. He has Darryl Mitchell. Mitchell crosses the field and cuts back up. One guy to beat. And Mitchell takes it down inside the 30-yard line. There's one big play for the Argonaut offense. 41 yards there. There's a flag at the end of the play, so they won't be bringing it all the way back. We'll check out the infraction near where Mitchell was tackled.
Sometimes what you ask for, you may just get.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 10. First down.
Charles Anthony. But finally, Argo offense has something to smile about.
See the great play action fake. Look at that. Grant Carter right down on Tony Burrs trying to make the tackle. That got Jay Barker outside, and when he did, he found Daryl Mitchell, and then Mitchell does the rest on his own with the big run and a good burst of speed down the sideline. Little play action fake got Grant Carter on that one.
Argonauts, 1st and 10 at the Eskimo 14. Barker has time. Touchdown, Daryl Mitchell. All I asked for, a couple of offensive plays. There you go. Now maybe it's a finish.
Well, we got a game. We got a game, and the Argos all of a sudden were ignited by a good drive from Jay Barker. He really put together a nice drive here. You think back to that long wide field out to Andre Kerwin. I thought that was the best throw until this one. This is right to the outside and on the money to Daryl Mitchell on the corner pattern, and all of a sudden the Argos are in this football game. Look like they're playing with a little bit of life. You know, and the crowd went crazy here on that throw, and so did just over in Montreal, the whole hotel room.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers are watching this. Argos had the lead by a point. Giancola makes that 2. Nice drive. The Argonaut offense finally comes to life. We might be in for a finish at Skydome after all. Argos get a touchdown. The scoring drive is brought to you by Puck a Call. Call 101-5566 and save without switching.
Well, it's a Jay Barker drive, because I thought he really put together a nice drive. A couple of real good throws. It started out when he improvised and got the ball to Tony Burrs. Remember, that drive started way back inside their 20 after a penalty put him 1st and 20. You go 1st and 20. First of all, you convert that one, then you move down and put in the major. That's a good drive by your quarterback.
Argos have the lead by 2. The Eskimos will try and respond with a return here. Johnny Ashley. And he's bulldogged down near the 33.
Well, Jay Barker saw bracket coverage on that touchdown to Daryl Mitchell between Charles Anthony right here and Marcelo Simmons. Now, if Mitchell goes inside, it's supposed to be Simmons. If he goes outside, it's supposed to be Anthony. Anthony jumps up. Simmons sees that he's gone, and it's too late. He can't catch up and run down Daryl Mitchell.
How do you figure this? Barker 7 for 7 in the second half for 110 yards. The touchdown to Mitchell is his best play of the night.
Well, they're on the same page. They weren't in the first half, that's for sure.
Eskimos try and respond. They're down by 2. Hope's hanging the balance here. Edmonton has to win to guarantee a spot in the West. Nealon Green has Millington. And you know, when you look around at Nealon Green, he hasn't done very much but find Millington out of the backfield and as his key receiver so far most of the way. Eskimos have to win.
Well, they have to win to lock it up, but if they don't win, there's still a chance that they can get in the playoffs if Winnipeg doesn't win. They have the same records, but in order to cross over, just like you see in that final note, you have to beat the other team in the other division in the point standings.
So Bombers need a win or a tie against Montreal tomorrow, and on 2nd and 1, the Eskimos should have the first down. No question this has been a difficult year for Don Matthews and the Eskimos. But when you look at this team and a 6-11 record without the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the Eskimos would be in pretty sad shape. They've won 3 games from Saskatchewan and 1 from Winnipeg. So the Eskimos have really only won 1 critical game against a solid team this season. Solid team that was playing well. That was against Calgary Labor Day.
Yeah. And the gamble that Calgary didn't convert.
Yeah, that was an interesting conclusion. First down, Nealon Green goes high for Millington. Now, why isn't he spotting anybody else out there? Bailey.
Well, you wonder.
Murphy, Terry Vaughn, Donnie Ashley.
He just hasn't even been looking to Terry Vaughn, and we talked about the importance of having Terry Vaughn involved in the offense, and he's not been. I mean, and I've been watching him in this game. It's not that he's not getting open. It's just that Nealon Green hasn't been looking to him. Now, in fairness to Green, they were running the ball predominantly in the first half, so he really didn't throw it a whole lot.
Terry Vaughn hasn't caught a ball tonight. 2nd and 10. Key play for the Eskimos here with 10:27 to go. In the 4th quarter, Green puts it out, almost picked off. On Berlandus Price stepped in front of that. Number 23 had a chance. It would have been a brilliant interception, but he did get his hands on the ball.
Well, see, he was up in coverage because the Argos were going with the blitz from the secondary, and when you do that, the safety's forced to come out of the middle and come up in coverage on Ed Hervey, and boy, he almost made the dramatic catch laying out for it. It looked like he had it for a second, and then when he hit the ground, it bounced out of his hands.
Almost Berlandus Price. Eskimos set to kick it away. They trail by 2. 10-14 to go in the final quarter at Skydome this century for football anyway.
I'm not sure where the Blue Bombers stay when they're in Montreal, but I bet you're all on the edge of their seats right now.
Flags are down. Not a bad return. After a 47-yard punt, the pinball is wrapped up at the 27. Wrapped up by Charles Aston. It's CFL Live from Skydome. 9:54 to go here. The Eskimos are down by a couple. And ready to kick again. Sean Fleming back onto the field. The Eskimos were penalized for holding on the previous punt, so the Argos say do it again. 10 yards deeper.
Well, it'll mean about 10 or 15 yards of field position. Plus, when you have Pinball Clemens back there, you never know. At any time, you can break it. So, yeah, sure, make him do it again. We talked about the playoff scenario for Don Matthews, and he doesn't have to win to get in. But you never want to leave it up to a different team. You want to try and control it, obviously, yourself. And if he loses today, or tonight, excuse me, then it's up to Winnipeg.
Same thing on the other side of the field for Barker, though. He's trying to get his team ready for the playoffs. And in the first half, this team did not look like it was even a playoff contender, let alone a team that had qualified for the playoffs already. The Argonaut offense was woeful in the first half. Things have looked better in the second half. Barker, the quarterback, not the coach, has done a pretty good job. Now, the coach has done a pretty good job, too, I guess.
Absolutely.
But Barker, the quarterback, Jay Barker, has moved the football team and put a touchdown on the board. Fleming got a little heat from Capers, got it away. Here's the pinball, Mike Clemens. Wouldn't he like to break one about right now? Out across the 40 to the 47, wrapped up by Ring, and Daryl Mitchell has the Argonauts' only touchdown.
It's the only touchdown, and this is the play right here. A little corner pattern and a perfect pass from Jay Barker. A little bit of mix-up in the secondary for the Edmonton Eskimos. Tough catch over your shoulder like that. You got to keep concentration. Daryl Mitchell is back on track.
That was a pretty play. 9:19 to go. Argos have the ball. Barker takes off himself. He'll have the first down, sliding safely to about the 45. So all of a sudden, when we were thinking that maybe it was time to get the hook out for number 7 to start the second half.
No, now you were saying the hook. You wanted the hook. Don't group us together on that one.
You're not backing me at all.
I'm not backing you on that one.
You know what? I thought we were partners. Here's Mitchell. Cuts across field. What a great run by Daryl Mitchell. He's inside the 30-yard line. Slow developing play at the start, but Mitchell just seemed to pick his way through and turn it into a huge gain for the Argonauts.
I couldn't agree with you more. The play kind of started in first gear, and then Mitchell just slammed it into fourth gear in a hurry.
Yards and a big 25 for Toronto. Barker takes off again. He's short of the first down, but valuable yardage here for Toronto.
Jay Barker's making a living out of this play. He's faking the ball to Tony Burrs, and he's getting the defensive ends for Edmonton's to pull on the play action. This time, it's Leroy Blue's turn. See Leroy Blue all the way into the middle of the formation. He thought Tony Burrs had the football. Jay Barker's got it to the outside. He's done it both ways. Melvin Hunter on one side, Leroy Blue on the other. Right now, he's got him guessing.
Barker swings it out to Mitchell. He's wrapped up almost immediately on 2nd and 1 by Melvin Hunter. Now we'll see where they spot the ball, because there looked to be a little positive yardage there. This was the great run by Mitchell after the catch.
Yeah, this was when he went in fourth gear. So he'd started in first gear, a little slow developing play up to the flat, and then he just slammed it into fourth, into overdrive, and away he went. I question the call on 2nd and 1 right here. I mean, you're throwing it back to Mitchell, and yeah, he's made a huge play on this drive in a similar play, but when you're 2nd and 1, you got Tony Burse. I don't know. You slam it up in there and take your chances in the middle.
Well, at least you didn't question the coach on the hooking of the quarterback.
Coach Wells?
You weren't even close to backing me there. He kind of went along a little bit, didn't
Well,
he?
I said that you got to be careful with his confidence heading into the playoffs, and I don't think that you need to pull him just yet. So I just heard how you kind of grouped us together there in the yank.
Don't expect me to back you anymore on your NFL picks. Giancola nails one for the Argonauts to increase their lead to 5. It's CFL Live. We're in the fourth quarter at Skydome. Here's the crunch of the game. It's brought to you by CarStar Collision Repair Centers. We do a bang-up job every time.
A lot of times the crunch of the game this year has come on special teams. No different tonight. Mike Clements returning a punt, and he gets nailed by McCassell Nelson.
Our crunch of the game. And the pinball ready to break one here tonight, or would certainly love to have a little special emotion in what could be his final game in Toronto as an Argonaut. Meantime, the Eskimos have their backs to the wall with 6:56 to go. They had the lead. The Argos have responded and currently have a 5-point advantage. Elon Green escapes for a couple. Wrapped up by Demetrius Maxey. Green has not put the ball in the air very effectively so far tonight. His number 1 receiver is Terry Vaughn, and he has Epis, meaning 0.
Thanks for explaining that, because I was going right to my dictionary.
And along the ground, Green has not put up the kind of numbers that we expect from him many nights. 7 carries, 38 yards.
Millington has been the guy tonight.
Millington has been the guy running and receiving. Elon Green into traffic, chance for an interception, and Alondis Bryce couldn't quite run under it. It was batted away by Andrew Henry. Alondis Bryce just about had an interception earlier, which would have been a spectacular catch. Last week, he had a pretty good game against the Blue Bombers. And then, late in the game,
the play went through his hands.
He got a hand on it, tried to bat it down, but he batted it right into the hands of the Bomber receiver. And that was 6 points.
Nigel Williams was 94 yards later doing a touchdown dance to win the game.
Back-to-back miracles for the Bombers on Maroons Road in Winnipeg. Bombers will have an opportunity tomorrow if, in fact, the Argonauts can hang on to this lead. Bombers will get one last chance at making the playoffs. Fleming's kick, fairly deep. Taken by the pinball near the 30, a little stutter step and a dance. He's to the 41. Down for the Argonauts. It's Tony Burse for about 7 yards. Tony Burse will try and take a little time off the clock here. Sorry, Glenn.
He's finally healthy, and he's healthy at the right time for the Argonauts. He had the mysterious viral infection that turned out to be tonsillitis. He's over that. Strong has got his weight back on, ready for the playoffs.
6 for Burse, 2nd and 4 for the Argos. Toronto leading by 5. And there was no play there as Carter came roaring through, but there was a flag down before it even developed. Argos had a difficult time staying on side.
Yeah, Jay Barker was trying to audible at the line of scrimmage or change the play at the line of scrimmage. And
offside. Toronto number 31. Decline. 3rd down.
Pinball Clemens was bouncing around. He didn't hear the audible. Kept bouncing around at the line of scrimmage. He ended up being a little bit over the line, and then Jay Barker fumbled it after that. So they're going to have to punt the football and give the Edmonton Eskimos one more chance to put a drive together, try and win it, and seal that playoff spot.
Argos in a kicking situation. Eskimos looking at 4:21. All Edmonton has to do is score a touchdown, and that will qualify the Eskimos for the playoffs automatically. If they lose to the Argos here tonight, they'll have to wait and hope and cheer for Montreal tomorrow. Henry Williams driven deep into his own zone, back inside the 20. No return whatsoever for the Giz that time. 51-yard kick. So the Eskimos have a long way to go, but plenty of time to get there.
Well, either way this one goes, this has been quite a regular season for us, and this is, of course, our last game, and there are a ton of people that are involved with putting the show together, Adidas Friday Night Football, and our weekend shows, and I'd just like to mention a couple of them. With producers Paul McLean, John Hines, Jamie Bauer, directors Paul Hemming, Andy Boyukas.
Good for you on Boyukas.
Statisticians Dave Moyer and George Cootie, and there's a bunch more, and they put a lot of work into getting this game on the air, and this is a crew that really enjoys CFL football. They love the game, and they put a lot of their own time into it. It's not just our ugly mugs on TV.
Diver couldn't make the catch there. Well, speak for yourself.
There's a lot of people behind the scenes, and you know, and then you got to talk back about, you know, you talk about the guys back in the studio too, and you know, you got Matt Dunnigan and Chris Schultz that are just propping up James. You know, I mean, they're just carrying him the whole way. So you got those guys back in the studio, but there's a lot of guys behind the scene that really put a lot of work into it and never get mentioned.
Well, we've had fun every night standing here in the booth and enjoying all of the CFL action this year. Vaughn finally catches a pass. The Eskimos have 3 minutes to get to the end zone.
You know what I love about it too is this whole crew, it's a team. It's just like playing in a lot of ways because you're all on the same page and replays are coming up and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun, a lot of intensity, and we've had a little fun along the way, haven't we?
Yeah. Are you saying you had a little fun this season?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we did too. Game story thus far, Nealon Green, 63 yards passing. Jay Barker comes to life in the second half.
Sean Millington, a big game, but he's going to need some more with 3 minutes to go. They still have control of their destiny, but they have to score.
First down for the Eskimos. Nealon Green pumps once and looks deep, looking for Herbie, and he threw it about 12 yards past him. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Eskimos, 2:52 on the clock. Like Pinball Clemens thinking about perhaps hanging them up after next season. There was a wonderful emotional moment for Clemens in the standing ovation moments ago as they reviewed a few of the great moments in his career on the scoreboard, along with this guy as running mate for the past 12 years, Paul Mazzatti. Both have had outstanding careers, 3 Grey Cups with the Argonauts, and both are thinking about it. Both think the time might have come. They'll make their decisions official in the offseason. But tonight at Skydome could be their last opportunity to play for Argonaut fans here. Time is running out of the Eskimos on 2nd and 10. Another no catch, so that was back-to-back misses, and Edmonton will have to kick it away.
Nealon Green really hasn't been looking down the field at all in this football game, and if he did, he may see some open receivers. You see Donnie Ashley right down the seam. He had a couple of steps on anyone in the Argonaut defensive backfield, but you know, and I think to the great careers of Paul Mazzatti and Pinball Clemens, of course, I played against Pinball, and I know how tough he was to tackle and how great of an athlete he really is. And you know, he made plays in his career on the football field
like no one else.
Like no one else. Like Gretzky made passes, like Jordan made baskets. I mean,
and here he is, Mike Pinball Clemens. Not a bad return. Out to the 50-yard line. 38-yard punt that time. For Pinball Mike Clemens, the numbers have dropped off a little bit, but a couple of numbers that stand out. is the only player in football history to have 5,000 yards rushing, receiving, kickoff returns, and punt returns. 24,000 all-purpose yards for Mike Pinball Clemens during an illustrious career. No one has done it better over the past 12 years than Mike Pinball Clemens. And now it's over saying hi. Well, yeah, well, that's obviously a baby Clemens down there, or at least a little girl Clemens.
Yeah.
She's up and around, so
well, you know,
quite a baby.
Been a free agent 3 different times in his career, and each time we signed with the Argos.
Oh my gosh! Dunbrack was the intended receiver, and Jim Ballard is the quarterback of record for the Argonauts now. He didn't miss Dunbrack by much.
Well, I think, you know, if both players, think of Pinball and Paul Mazzotti, are considering retiring, I think it's a little bit closer for Paul Mazzotti. I really believe that this is his last year in the Canadian Football League, the all-time Argonaut leading receiver. And again, he's always been the guy that has come to the table. 4,000-yard seasons for Paul Mazzotti.
And 3 Grey Cups, and he was the Canadian MVP the last time the Argonauts won the Grey Cup. Second and 10. Joseph gets the call with 2:25 on the clock. The Argos are out of field goal range right now, so the Eskimos will have a chance, but they need a touchdown to win this. We'll check the infraction. Better second half for the Argonaut offense, no question. How would you describe the first half?
I think you just file that one under ugly.
And never even crossed your mind that you might switch quarterbacks.
Never crossed my mind.
You see.
Okay. Well,
okay. That's hardly fair. How many times have I backed you?
Okay. In fairness, maybe it crossed my mind just for a second. You know.
Crossed your mind. I can stand beside you for 30 football games through the season.
There's no infraction on the play. Third down.
We waited that long for that?
Yeah. And help you every step of the way.
I know.
And when I turn around and
now
look
you
for a
made
little,
me feel bad.
Look for a little support.
Well, it looked like
you're not there.
It looked like Jim Barker looked over his shoulder for a little support after that first half. But Jay Barker did respond, and that's what he needed him to do, especially when you consider the pressure that will be on him next weekend.
Well, and I was absolutely wrong, because when you look at the numbers Barker put up in the second half, he was 8 for 8 in the second half, and I was going to give him a hook. So, I mean, I take it back. Prefontaine is trying to take a few more seconds off the clock here. Eskimos will have time. Prefontaine nails this one. Down to about the 7. There's another great return guy. He's stopped in his tracks by solid special teamwork from Martavius Houston. 49-yard punts, and the Eskimos have a long way to go and a short time to get there. Is that a country song?
It could be. It could be, because in most country songs you're losing something, and Don Matthews is losing his chance to make the playoffs this year. Because if he loses this football game, he's leaving it up to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and if they beat Montreal or tie tomorrow, Winnipeg will cross over and play in Calgary in the Western semifinal.
Providing they beat the Alouettes.
Or tie.
Or tie.
Which is, you know, a big...
It's a pretty big if, except...
A big if.
The Alouettes may rest a few. They may not be quite as up for the football game. No matter what you say to a football team, it's a little more difficult to get up for a game that doesn't mean very much to you. Boy, that was a bad pass by Green.
Yeah, that was one hopper. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's human nature, and that's why you say, you know, when you see the intensity in a playoff game and you say, why don't we just mimic that intensity for 18 regular season games? But you just can't do that. It's just not human nature to do that.
Decent example of it tonight when we watched the Argonauts in the first half. I mean, that team was clearly not very involved in the football game. Intensity was not on the Argo bench in the first half. It took a little spark in the second half. Barker taking off and running a bit himself.
You're absolutely right. You see, I'm backing you.
Thank you very much. A minute 1:46 to go. 2nd and 10 Eskimos. On the money, but short of the first down. Wrapped up by Smith.
Well, now to control...
And Bailey makes the catch. Sorry.
To control their destiny, Don Matthews is going to gamble on 3rd down here, and it's not a whole lot. It's 3rd and about half a yard. So
yeah,
obviously,
and you've got Millington there, so
yeah, you got
the first down without question.
I mean, it's not a tough decision. You got to gamble for sure. But it's the play that could end their control over their playoff situation.
3rd down, less than a yard to go. Millington didn't get it on the first effort, but he plowed himself through and over for a first down. They'll move the yardsticks.
Now Nealon Green has to manage the clock. He's got 1:23 left and a lot of field and a lot of real estate to make up.
Now, if Green is able to do this, you have to be pretty excited for the Edmonton Eskimos. If he can march this distance in 1:18, the Eskimos would deserve a playoff spot. Oh. Hit him right in a bad place. Between the numbers.
Between the 2 and the 5.
Yeah, Sean Millington. Tough year for everyone involved with the Eskimos with just 6 wins. Dieter Brock, the co-offensive coordinator, takes care of quarterbacks.
Well, it's been a real tough year for Dieter Brock. It has to have been because
he's had so many quarterbacks to take care of. They've used 4.
Right. Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks to take care of and running an offense that features the run. Dieter Brock, when he played, was a passer.
2nd and 10 Eskimos, near side. Bailey makes the catch. Will have the first down, or should have had the first down. Spot will be all important here. Donald Smith wrapped him up. Now Bailey was very close to that marker and had to retreat a little bit. So we'll see where they spot it. He'll be 3 yards shy.
Yeah, but you got to be thinking about the clock too. And when Bailey caught this one, he was wrapped up. He came back to the football. See how long he wasted? About 6 seconds kind of hopping around. Got to think about the clock and get down, and another 3rd down gamble here. This could be it.
3rd down and 4 to go. This won't be easy. Make it 3rd and 3.5. Eskimos. The last crack at it here. Too high, and the Eskimos are going to leave their playoff fate up to the Montreal Alouettes and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 43 seconds on the clock, and the Argonauts should be able to burn that off.
And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are in Montreal right now. They just got a fire in their belly because they have a chance to make the playoffs. It's in their hands. And you know what? When you look at the playoff situation right now, it goes down to week 18 of the regular season to determine the last playoff spot. You can't really ask for any much more than that. I'm talking about the league picture here. And now going into the playoffs, you tell me who the favorite is. I mean, you can make an argument for any of the 3 teams, or maybe 4, depending on who gets in between Edmonton and Winnipeg in the playoffs this year.
Well, if the Bombers should happen to make it, it's kind of an interesting football team because they'd have won their last 3 games, 2 miracle finishes. I mean, if the Bombers are able to win or tie in Montreal tomorrow, you'd have to think it might be a team of destiny. This is Ballard at the controls for the Argonauts, so he gets a chance the last couple of sequences there. Now, it'd be interesting to see the Bombers come up with a victory and take a run at the playoffs the way they've played the last couple of weeks.
You know, and Don Matthews, his worst season ever, if he drops to 6-12. And he came in a training camp in Edmonton. First thing he did was got rid of Willie Pless.
Next day, he got rid of Benny Goods.
That's right.
And he had a fight with Leroy Blue.
That's right, which is pretty much, I mean, the fight hasn't gone on all year, but it has affected Leroy Blue's play throughout the season and whether or not he's even been in the lineup. And then he had a ton of injury problems, something that he really hadn't had to deal with in his career. And talking about Don Matthews, so, you know, the season has been one that Don Matthews has never seen. And Don Matthews is the winningest coach all time. And when you say that, it's saying something.
Well, Eskimo fans have not seen a season like this. This is a team that has had outstanding success, and the Argonauts will have a first down here and lots of opportunity to finish things off. So the Alouettes and the Blue Bombers tomorrow in Montreal will decide the final playoff spot in the CFL West. Should the Bombers win or tie Montreal tomorrow, they would cross over and go into the Western playoffs and take on the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, and how do Montreal approach this game? I know that Mike Pringle, I heard him in a couple of interviews after his week last week versus Calgary, was real fired up to get a chance in Winnipeg because he didn't have a real good game, not a Mike Pringle game. So he's going to be fired up, but you got to wrestle. You can't lose a guy in that football game if you're the Montreal Alouettes. So it's going to be a juggling act for Charlie Taff in Montreal tomorrow afternoon. Now, Winnipeg, on the other hand, got to pull out all the stops.
Absolutely everything. And the Eskimos will be in front of the television set tomorrow, watching and hoping for the Alouettes in the worst way. Looking at this Eskimo team this year, with the teams they've beaten, they really don't deserve to be in the playoffs with the record that they do have.
You're absolutely right. And look at that bench. I mean, they're down. They've lost this game and a chance to control their destiny. And even if they sneak in the back door, what kind of emotion are they going to have going into that game?
And without the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the Edmonton Eskimos wouldn't have stood a chance of being in the playoffs at all. They beat Saskatchewan 3 times. Could it be the last night at Skydome for Mike Pinball Clemens and Paul Mazzatti?
I hope not, but if it is, I want to say thank you to both of them. A lot of great memories.
2 great Argos of all time. Toronto comes back to beat the Eskimos and keep Don Matthews on the edge of his seat for one more day. We've got one last TSN turning point to wrap up our 1999 CFL season.
It took 3 quarters, but Jay Barker finally got on the same page with his #1 receiver, Daryl Mitchell. This was the big touchdown that gave the Argos the lead, and they went on to win this football game.
A cash donation we made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Super 8s. Life's great at Super 8s.
Life is not so great for the Edmonton Eskimos. I've never seen Don Matthews look like that at the end of the game. Looked like he was in absolute shock, and so that 28-year streak of them making the playoffs is now in serious jeopardy. It is out of their hands. Give the Argos credit. They did play emotional football, at least for those last 15 minutes. But the Eskimos, you know, perfect opportunity here. You come in with playing a team with nothing really to play for, and they blew it.
Well, they did, but what do you expect? 6-11, you know, same old song, week after week. Youthful team that's been depleted by injuries week after week. Unfamiliar territory, yes, for the Edmonton Eskimos and certainly Don Matthews. But the positive thing they can pull on this is they still have a chance. They've given their chance to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the destiny is in that club's hands. But I look at this team as preparing for the future, and they've done that. They've made the hard decisions. They played with a young team. They've got a lot of people on the football field. And, James, I think they'll be better off if, in fact, they don't make the playoffs. They'll be better off than most teams that will be next year.
All right, now everything comes up to the Bombers now. Bombers have destiny in their own hands, and playing the Montreal Alouettes tomorrow, another team that really has nothing to play for. And so is it advantage Bombers, or do you think the Alouettes will try to make a statement?
Well, I think it is advantage Bombers. There's no doubt when you're motivated to play for a playoff opportunity, you wake up with a better attitude than if it didn't mean anything. I think Winnipeg has the opportunity to win this game because they've won 4 out of the last 6. For only the 2nd week in the whole CFL season, they have the same 24 people together. That's important. And the defensive line is playing its best football right now, which is a line of scrimmage issue, which is Mike Pringle. I think Winnipeg has a shot. Obviously, they cannot give the short field to Montreal. They have to handle Pringle. It's as simple as that, but it's up to them.
Now, one other game earlier on today, the first part of our doubleheader, and it was supposed to mean nothing at all, but it did mean something to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They were out to avenge that loss to Calgary in the Grey Cup, and they did it. 31-28 the final. Danny McManus goes over 5,000 yards, passing 338 on the day. The lead changed 6 times. Terrific game for a game that wasn't supposed to mean anything. Hamilton finishes 2nd. Calgary finishes 2nd in the West. That sets up this. The Argos will go to Hamilton next Sunday for the Eastern semifinal. Calgary still doesn't know. It'll be Edmonton or Winnipeg in Calgary for the West semifinal. It'll depend on this one. The Bombers at Montreal. Our friends at the CBC have that one. In fact, they'll take it for you right through to Grey Cup. But don't forget, we'll be at Grey Cup as well. Back to wrap up. Pinball's last game at Skydome? Perhaps.
The CFL Live on TSN is brought to you by Castrol GTX Drive Hard, And by Molson Canadian.
Our Adidas game ball goes to Jay Barker. Had a shaky first 3 quarters, but came alive with a couple of big drives in the 4th quarter. His Argos win, and he gets our game ball. Big game, of course, coming up to tomorrow. Winnipeg and Montreal. If the Bombers win, they're in. Bombers got some help from the Argos today, though, Matt.
Yeah, and I think that the Eskimos are going to get help from the Montreal Alouettes tomorrow because Montreal is tough at home. I don't think Winnipeg has a chance. They're going to play some exciting football, but Chris, I think that the Eskimos are going to get another shot at this.
I tell you what, Eskimos may have another shot at this because I think Montreal is motivated to win at home. They were not happy with the 14-point 4th quarter disaster last week. They'll try to make it up tomorrow, James.
All right, so we're all set except that final playoff spot in the West still up for grabs. Now, do not forget, we are done with our regular season telecast, but we'll be at the Grey Cup. The whole gang's going out Friday, November 26th, the 1999 CFL Awards Show, plus an hour Grey Cup preview. Sports Desk is next with Gino Retta. All the hockey, all the hoops, all the golf. On behalf of Chris, Matt, and myself, we'd like to thank everybody who works on our control shows. This has been a presentation of TSN, Canada's most watched sports network. We'll see you at Grey Cup, everybody.